Okay, so we should be officially live now. We got a few people in here, about 11 people are in here currently. So let's get to a few comments. Have picks 101 and 102. As a Kyle Pitts owner, would you value Burks over London for the 102 so as to not stack two players on what looks like a bad offense? I understand the hesitance here. However, I actually do have London pretty comfortably as my 102 right now. If you personally view Burks and London on that same tier, I'm fine with it. But for me personally, I would much rather London given the current circumstance that he has in Atlanta. With that eighth overall draft capital, with the opportunity that he has at hand, I wouldn't necessarily gear off of London if I had Pitts. Even like if I had obviously London as a superior talent there. So if you do have London over Burks in your rankings, you should be taking London regardless of the fact that you do have Pitts, in my opinion. And I just answered a couple while I was waiting in case you guys wanted a quick answer. So like AJ Brown, would you try to move on from him? I would actually use him more so as a buying window. Again, he was my clear wide receiver 3 in Dynasty before the trade. It's probably now closer to the wide receiver 5-6. I have to fully look at my rankings afterwards. But if you can get him for cheaper than, wide receiver 5-6 type of prices, I would definitely be trying to inquire what your current league mate actually has him valued at. So I would use him more as a buy window if you can get him. My Tyler Lockett 210 for 109, full PPR Dynasty rookie. Give me the 109 there, Sile. I view the 109 as that like third tier, if you will, cutoff. 101 for me, Breece Hall. That 102 to 105 would be my next tier. That 106 to 109, I'm kind of looking at Sky Moore, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, or Jahan Dotson. So if you can turn Lockett in a late 2 in what's a bad class this year into one of those stud young wide receivers, I would do that. What type of pick to get in return for Rondale Moore? I think you're nervous about my answer here, brother. I traded Rondale and a 3 to actually get a 2023 second round pick. So for me personally, I mean, he is a face planner. He has lost a ton of value. And in general, we've seen the multiple efforts of the Cardinals in trying to add to that wide receiver core. I just don't believe in Rondale long term. I'm going to be completely honest. If there's some believer still in your league, I would gauge the value that your current league actually has on him. So again, if you can flip, Rondale in a third into maybe a 2023 second in what should be a really good class, I would actually rather the second in that scenario. Maybe you can get it straight up. I don't know how your league dynamic works. Would you trade 107 and Rondale for Hollywood and 208, or is that too much to give for Hollywood? That's actually a really close deal in my opinion. Because I mean, 107, you're talking about Jameson Williams or Chris Olave. Rondale 208, whatever. I would personally rather the 208. That's close. I would probably do the deal though, but it would hurt giving up that 107 with Olave or Jameson Williams or Sky Moore, wherever you want to go. But I think Hollywood has shown that he is a target earner in the NFL. He's still young. He's in an offense that should have a higher volume of passing opportunity, especially with DeAndre Hopkins. It got suspended for the first 6 games of the year. So I would actually prefer the Hollywood side, but that is a very close deal in my opinion, given the fact that I do value that 107. Kind of players would you be trying to move Dalvin Cook for one? Well, I mean, we can look at some of the wide receivers. Like if you can get a Monra plus, if you can get, a wide receiver like Bateman I would take Bateman over Cook right now. I know that might be kind of on edge to a lot of people, but if you can get, that type of young ascending wide receiver for Cook, who I believe at best has 1 or 2 years of useful fantasy football production left, that would be the type of transition I would want to do. Looking to trade Juju, what pick should I shoot for in round 1 or first round 108? Also, if you can get a first round pick for Juju, go and take it right now. If you can get the 108 especially and lock yourself into Sky, JMO, Dotson, or Olave, I mean, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. Would you trade Hollywood for max value right now or wait and see? I would gauge your league market, honestly. I think, again, as Craig said, the 107 is about an appropriate range for him. If you can get anything sooner than the 107, I would gauge it. But if you can't get anything sooner than, a mid to late first this year, then I would just hold on to Hollywood because I do actually value him a little bit ahead of the market. And it fully depends, again, how your league is valuing the news of DeAndre Hopkins and if they're willing to overpay on a market value standpoint, whether I would want to give him up or not. 16 team, Superflex 112 and 201 or Elijah Mitchell. Give me the 112 and 201 pretty easily there, Alejandro. Currently trying to get 2022 105 and 2023 third for Melvin Gordon, Damien Harris. Is this enough value? Dude, if you can pull that up straight up, like the 105 is worth so much more than the rest of the other package. So I would take the 105 easily there if you can net that. AJ Brown or the 112, 201, 202, and 203. Just give me the stud there. Just give me AJ Brown. I understand. I mean, it's nice having 4 picks if you're a rebuilder, but realistically, 3 second-round picks and the last pick of the first, and what's one of the worst classes we'll see in quite some time, over a proven young stud like AJ Brown. Just give me Brown. Hollywood or Elijah Moore. As much as I love Hollywood Brown, I love Elijah Moore even more. Elijah Moore is currently a top 20 wide receiver for me in my dynasty ranking. So I would personally lean Elijah Moore, but Hollywood's also very good. But give me Elijah. And rebuild, would you give Connor plus McLaurin for 110, 203, and a 2023 second, 10-team PPR? Yeah, I would be willing to do that, especially in a rebuild. Those players, obviously with Connor and McLaurin, are both 27 years old. Both have longevity working against them, if you will, and getting 3 good young pieces, especially in a 10 team. I mean, that 203 would be a usual 201, and that 2023 second, obviously in a better class, is going to be valued better because there's only 10 teams as opposed to 12. I would rather the picks there. What's up, Danny? How are your drafts doing? Doing well. I'll give you guys a little update on how my 2 drafts that I'm currently in are doing. After I'll have some rookie drafts for you guys on Sleeper in a second. Just going to catch up on some comments, but yeah, I'll give you guys the update as to how those are going as well. Hey boys, what's up, Brock? I'm saying Antonio Gibson falling a lot of rankings. Curious why and if you think he should be falling. I can see if you want to drop him a few spots. Now, if you're going to completely tank him in the rankings because of Brian Robinson, I mean, you guys will see on the running back rankings video that we have today our thoughts on the Brian Robinson draft pick. I genuinely think that this is more so insurance. Obviously, Gibson's been banging some injuries over these past couple years, especially with that turf toe he's kind of been on and off dealing with to a degree. I think they drafted Brian Robinson more so as insurance. So if this opens up a buy window, if you can get, Gibson for a late first this year, potentially, I feel like somebody may panic, see 3rd round, see Brian Robinson, and may be willing to sell him. If you can get him for a late first, I'd be more than willing to do that for Antonio Gibson. Would you trade a nice medium rare steak, a cold brew, and a couple donuts for dessert for chicken parm, a glass of red wine, and a bowl of vanilla bean ice cream? Man, that's a close one. The red wine, as you know, I'm a big Italiano over here. I love my wine. It's tough, man, because that steak is really, really speaking to me. I think I would hold the steak side there, Fletsky. I think I can move either a 211, 303, and 311 and Miles Sanders for anything, or am I stuck holding the bag with him? Honestly, at this point, like if you don't get appropriate value, I would just kind of see what happens in the season. They didn't bring any real competition out of the draft. I mean, only Kennedy Brooks, I believe, either late round or in UDFA. I would just kind of see what I have at this point. And I mean, who knows? Maybe he has a couple spike weeks in season and you can net, a 2023 second plus for him at that point. But aside from that, I'm not worried about just getting rid of Sanders because I don't know. He's just such a volatile asset. Walked away with London, Olave, Dotson, pick. Jesus. Yeah, no, that's quite a haul there, Brock. Quite a haul. Thanks, brother, for the anytime there, Patrick. I love helping you guys out. My dude Danny is there, Cairo. Nice seeing you in the chat. Show them my stellar draft. Oh yeah, we'll show the draft board in a second. Would you say David Bell has the biggest difference between your rankings? David Bell is definitely one of them. His current ADP, I believe, is 206 via Adico's tracked ADP on sleeper drafts. And I actually have him right now as my 110. Now, the one thing I'll say, unless you're in a sharp league, okay, listen, a lot of our leagues we play with listeners of the channel. A lot of the people know how we view these prospects. So for our leagues, like personally, if I want David Bell, I'm going to have to take him relatively earlier in a league that I'm in because I know a lot of people that I'm with will value David Bell accordingly because they know via the content our thoughts on David Bell and will raise them up their own rankings. But if you're in your own publicly or your own home league and you're picking 110 and, David Bell's my next rated guy, maybe see if somebody really loves Christian Watson, somebody really loves, James Cook or somebody like that. And maybe you can move down to the 201, 202, coop a little bit of value, and then also get David Bell, who is a guy I would have felt comfortable with taking at the 110 anyway. So I would definitely say David Bell would probably be the biggest differentiation between my rankings and how consensus views him. With Tolbert, is your plan to flip him before Gallup returns, or is there long-term value? I genuinely think there's long-term value with Tolbert. Now if he just balls the hell out and his market value just explodes when Gallup is gone, maybe you gauge interest at that point. But he's a late 2, early 3 type of pick in the draft right now. I'm not completely for example, like an Algier and a Pierce, you guys will see in our running back rankings. If they have good year ones, I mean, that is your sell window. I mean, it's a similar situation to Michael Carter last year. We love those players, but the draft capital installation isn't necessarily there for those type of runners. So if you can, for example, Michael Carter was going for a first round pick after last season. People saw the production, but the draft capital investment is always going to be key. So if we can get a useful year of production out of these guys and then flip them for profit, specifically at those running backs who have those upside, I'd be looking to do it. Now with Tolbert, I don't necessarily believe within a few weeks of Gallup being out that his market value is going to dramatically increase. Now again, if you can get an early projected 2023 third or a mid projected 2023 third, because this guy has a few great games with the Michael Gallup out, of course. But I genuinely don't really see a huge value gain, if you will, even if he has a couple games, because people have a lot of biases against him in regards to Jalen Tolbert. So I don't mind just holding him, kind of seeing what you have. But again, it all depends on how the market value explodes if he does have those games. But I'll quickly go to AJ. So we left off here at Matt. I'll get back to that. 499 super chat. Appreciate that. AJ, he says, trade away Dalvin on a contender. Should I move Barkley as well? Have the 101, 102, 107, 120, 23 first. Looking at Hall in London and best player available at 107. Thoughts? I really, really like that. You have a really, really good setup there. Kind of have it locked out. Hall, London as those 101, 102 players. Best player available for sure at 107. I would also be gauging your league interest on what they potentially value that. Because obviously, again, 107 for us, pick your poison, Olave, JMO, Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson. But somebody's willing to give you, a veteran wide receiver. If somebody's willing to give you like Michael Pittman for that pick, I would be willing to do that, especially in your spot, needing that instant production. So that's how I view it. I wouldn't necessarily move Barkley because I do think his market value, especially for you being a contender, may not necessarily be worth it for you. But I would gauge your league again. Every micro league market will differentiate, but based off, the keep trade cut value that we kind of see majority wise across ADP, I would more so want to keep Barkley. But yeah, again, appreciate that super chat. I'll get through a couple more comments and launch you guys up because I know you guys are eager to do a couple rookie drafts here. Yeah, I answered that. Transitioning from rebuild to contender with the 102. Are you trading back or trying to acquire a player? It fully depends what is available to you. I'm more than comfortable taking Drake London. I have him valued as a top 15 to 20 wide receiver in my dynasty rankings. But if somebody's willing to overpay for Kenneth Walker or Drake London or whoever, and is willing to give you a very, very compelling win now package, I'd be willing to do it. Anytime they're pulling. I might have to trade Akers and Dillon in the league to help secure the tank for. Yeah, dude. Generally speaking, the most underrated part of Dynasty is ridding yourself of points to further your cause. If you are not contending, you do not need running back points. Period. If you do not plan on being one of the top 4 teams in your league, trade off your running backs at peak value and then accumulate young, cheap running backs when you're willing to contend. So, for example, Akers and Dillon here, I bet you can get a pretty good package for them right now. It also furthers your cost to get, a Bijan, a Gibbs, one of those stud quarterbacks next year because you're not having those running back points sitting and wasting on your team. And it also furthers you into your contention window. So I do agree. I would trade both of those guys if you can. Snag David Bell 203. That's an absolute steal there. Fields 206 or Bateman. Is this a super flex or a one quarterback league? Because if it's a super flex, it is Fields and it's not even really close there, Kalen. Let me know in the comments. Just got offered Sutton and 3 2s for Ayuk. That's an instant smash, right? So is it like what is it like 210, 211, 212 this year? Like what type of twos? Because if it's like 3 late twos this year, I'd probably I don't know. I'd probably take it regardless, but I would be curious. I'd probably take that deal. As much as I love Ayuk, it's tough. AJ for 107. You could try to tier up to Walker as well if you're gonna. Oh, you okay? That's a comment. Dynasty trade advice: one quarterback I'm being offered his Trey Lance and Chris Godwin for my Justin Herbert and first round pick in 2024. Rookie drafts only. Your thoughts? I am holding Herbert in the first there. I do view Herbert as a decent bit above Lance. As much as I love Lance, I mean, Herbert is the locked and loaded quarterback too for me in Dynasty. And Chris Godwin isn't much valued more than what we assume is a random 24-4. So, let's just say that's a mid first. That's about appropriate value to Godwin. So I would just take the quarterback upgrade at that point. Here, let me actually start up this draft. I feel like a couple of you guys might get restless, so I'll get this going. We're about 15 minutes in. Here. I'm gonna post it in the chat and the Discord, and we should be ready to roll. Here. Boom. Okay, so that should be available to you guys. Let me just make sure the rules are fully set, and we can get this thing going. Linear. Rookies, yeah, no, we should be good. Okay, you guys can join into that, and I'll catch up on some comments here. That's high on Walker. I'm very interested in the 102. How do we get in the mock? Yeah, mock is shared right now, so there's currently 4 spots left if you guys want to zoom in. 12-team, half PPR, super flex, 10 and premium. Currently working on a trade to send Joe Mixon, Hayden Hurst, and the 105 for Andrews and Jacobs. Thoughts? So there is a tight end premium here. I would say that's a relatively close deal. If you need that elite tight end to take you over the top, I don't mind making that move, Ali. I have 101 and 102 and 105. By the way, I will randomize this draft order, share the screen, and we will get this thing rolling. Here. Randomize teams. Boom. There we go. And I'll turn that sound off so I don't hear that. 101, 102, and 105. Do you see value in taking Hall and Walker to take the 2 best running backs? I would personally, because I do have a preference of London personally. So I would actually go with Hall, London, and then whatever falls between Burks, Wilson, and Walker at that 105 for me personally there, Derek. Superflex, are you expecting a sophomore jump? Brother, like honestly, even if he doesn't jump in production, his insulated value in a superflex, like he should be going for like Bateman in a first, in my opinion. So if you can get that value, Fields plus 4 Bateman, you take that in a heartbeat. Gotcha, AJ. Okay, you guys are beauty. I might move the 210 and the 107 to get the 104. Yeah, I don't mind making that move whatsoever there. As we see Breece Hall and Treylon Burks be the first 2 picks in this draft. Yeah, the 105 is like that tier cutoff for me. So if you could move 210, a little Fugazi pick in the 107 to get that tier up, that upgrade for you, I'd be willing to do that there, AJ. Who do I take at 102? I have Najee, JT. Yeah, I would just go with Drake London there, Sabri. He's my best available player after Breece Hall. If Breece Hall falls to you, take Breece Hall. But if Breece Hall assumingly goes 1, I would take Drake London. 103 or 2022 201 and a late first. That's a relatively close deal. Like, are you for sure that's going to be, like 110, 111, 112? Because if you're sure it's going to be that late, I would just take the 103. But if there's a chance it gets into the 107, 108 range, I'd be willing to take that first. But let me know in the comments. Here, we're actually almost on the clock here. AJ, if you can do that. Pittman or pick 110. Give me Pittman there, Scott. I really like Pittman at that value. I'd be willing to take anything or pay anything, 106, 107 on for Pittman. Yeah, and you guys agree. I'm about to be on the clock here. We do see Breece Hall, Treylon Burks, Drake London, Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson. Pretty typical top 5 that you'll normally see in a lot of your drafts. Followed by Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Kenny Pickett, Sky Moore, and David Bell at the 110. So now I'm at the 111, and man, it's kind of funny because like we're looking at it like, okay, Jahan Dotson is here. I thought he'd be off the board. I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson. I thought you guys were going to force me into taking Christian Watson. I was getting a little nervous. You guys are too sharp for me. I got Jahan Dotson at the 111, and now we got Gator at that 112 anchoring that spot. So took over a dispersal team and put all my assets into draft picks this year and next. I have 3 firsts next year and took Brees with the 101. Is Javonte Williams worth the 104 since I don't need him till Jameson Williams. I really like Jameson Williams. Like, he's a really good player, but for me personally, I am not taking him at the 104 over Burks, over London, or over Garrett Wilson for me there, Josh. Would you trade the 102 for Waddle? Yes. Yeah. As much as I love Drake London, like, give me Waddle. Yes. Give me Waddle. Pittman is probably worth. Yeah, no, that's a good call there, Brock. That's about where I'd have him as well. Yeah, pretty confident it'll be pick 108 or later for the 2023 first. It's about a relatively fair deal. It depends how your assets are kind of accumulated. If you want, that extra dart throw at the 201 and getting that late first, I don't mind it. It's personal preference there, Bryce, in my opinion. Is Bell really worth the 110 here? That's actually where I have him ranked. I feel like you can get him later in your own home leagues, especially if you can trade down and accumulate assets. But for the purpose of the mock, since we can't, I'm more than comfortable taking David Bell. Elite producer in school. The only concern about him are his athletic numbers. He did get that coveted day 2 capital. Think like Jarvis Landry, Keenan Allen in terms of prospect mold. 3rd round hyper-productive players at their college that fell due to athleticism concerns, but have carved out really nice careers. I can see David Bell really being a target magnet. So, I really like David Bell. I think he's criminally undervalued. Is Bell still available? Yes, dude. Honestly, like, whatever can get it done. If you can trade, a third this year and a third next year or whatever, and move up to that 210, go get it done there, Alex. I should about be able to get it done, by the way. I got Bell to 201. It was people in your league. I don't know. They're sleeping on David Bell. Why? Just because he's slow? People want to hate on the guy. I mean, he was a hyper productive player in college. Gets the day 2 capital, and I mean, talking about landing spot. I mean, he actually landed with Deshaun Watson. I obviously don't take I don't detract too much from landing spot, but it's always a plus when you're getting a really good prospect landing with Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. So I really like that spot for him. As much as I love John Mechie, I disagree there, Crackshot. I think Mechie's a very good player, but I actually have Bell a little bit higher. I could see the argument from you, though. Who would you say are some good guys to try and get for the 107? I mean, anybody in that tier. You're talking about Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Sky Moore, or Jahan Dotson. I'm more than fine. Pick your poison. Pick whoever you want amongst that group, but that would be my solidified 106 to 109 tier. It's been a good draft, bro. Yeah. Bell's falling to the end of the second in a lot. Yeah, dude, if he's falling to the end of the second, you better have 100% ownership. Here, leave some comments. I'm going to have some coffee. Yeah, and I understand that, especially from a redraft standpoint, but he should be locked and loaded into at least a slot role coming into the league. And to me, it kind of think a bigger frame Jarvis. I mean, actually, I think he might have the exact same frame as Jarvis. Jarvis Landry's a really, really good comp for him, in my opinion. Just smooth, really good route runner, sticky hands, dependable, reliable player. That's what I see David Bell projecting to be at the next level. From a redraft standpoint, I understand the availability argument, but I mean, we're playing Dynasty. We're playing long term. We're talking about a 21-year-old player that's tethered to Deshaun Watson at least for the next 4 or 5 years, whatever his contract extension was. So I'm more than fine with David Bell there. And sorry, we actually are on the clock here. I just seeing now. I mean, you got a couple of quarterbacks, got a couple of wide receivers here. I think for me, this decision would be whatever your best receiver is, whether it's Pierce, Tolbert, Shakir. You can go with one of the quarterbacks, or you can go with McBride. I'll spice it up. I'll go Trey McBride this time. No one would let me tear up. I was trying all day. Yeah, you're good. I'm going to own. Yeah, no, same. It's going to be crazy. Make the draft bigger here. I can zoom in for you. Sorry about that. There, 125. How is that, Crackshot? Yeah, no, I got you. That should be better. Let me know if you need me to zoom in anymore there. 312, should I try to draft a rookie running back, Trubisky or Mariota? if Mariota's there, I'll just take Mariota and take a dart throw at a potential starting quarterback. Brock, I was too lucky to yeah. My dude just got fleeced. Picks 3, 16, and a 4th for ew. No, give me pick 3, 16. Easy there. Not really that close. Oh no, that's yeah, no. Give me pick 3 easily there. That's not even close for me there. Yeah, but the boys, I guess, are in a league together. You gotta love that. As we do see, just to actually recap the second round because I didn't get to it. Pickens actually tailed off the end of the first round at the 112. Then we see Watson, Cook, Pierce, White, Algier. So a big run at running backs after Christian Watson there. Then we see John Mechie, Isaiah Spiller, 2 quarterbacks in a row with Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder. Wan'Dale Robinson, I took Trey McBride. And then we did see Brian Robinson tail end that 212 spot. And the third round actually started with Khalil Shakir and Matt Corral. Hello, Barefoot. How you doing? 73 current people in here. I want to see at least 40, 45 likes on this stream. So if you haven't liked already, make sure you do so and pound that like button. As we do see Alec Pierce go off the board and Jalen Tolbert, my beloved Cowboy. So, yeah, I mean, this draft is flowing pretty nicely. You guys are keeping the comments rolling, keeping the comments lively. So love to see that. And yeah, after we finish this one, I'll just load up another one and we'll get it rolling again. See some comments, lads. What's going on? But either way, looking at the board right now, I mean, you got Greg Dulcich. Actually, he just goes off the board. Second round draft capital, tight end to Denver. Receivers getting gross. I mean, you're getting bad prospects with potential draft capital here, obviously with Thornton and Velus Jones, but I'm not. No. Not much at running back. I mean, this draft is just ugly. Just take your guys, honestly. That's what I'll say about this draft this year. I have the 201 and 301 in a 10-man league. I don't see Bell falling to the 301. Is taking him at 201 over guys like Pickens and Watson to reach. I have him valued that way. If you can potentially move down that 201, coop some value, and then take Bell, if your league is for sure locked and loaded set on taking Watson or Pickens over Bell, I would look to potentially move down a few spots, maybe pick up a 2023 third, and still get the guy that I would actually have valued there. It's all about being creative. It's all about being proactive when you're on the clock, as we talked about in yesterday's video. So that's what I would look to do. I do agree that 301 maybe won't land you in position to get him, but if you can move down with the 201, I would look to do that. No, that or you, I mean, you could move up with the 301 to get yourself in position for him. Either works. No, that, yeah, Alec Pierce, for those that don't know, is Brock's guy. We'll just say that. Actually, he does get Jelani Woods, so shout out. Who's better to draft, Spiller, Pierce, or Algier since Mike Davis was cut today? Funny you actually asked that, Lexi. I'm actually live streaming right now. Bush is editing our official post-draft running back ranking, so that will be dropping today. My personal order of that tier would be Pierce, Algier, and Spiller. Corey would actually have it Algier, Pierce, and Spiller in that order there, Lexi. Anytime there, Scott? How are you willing to take Sky Moore? Honestly, if you want to take him at 106, I have no qualms about it. He is currently he's my 8th ranked rookie. I was thinking whether I had him or JMO higher. He's my 8th ranked rookie, but if you wanted to take him 106, I wouldn't argue with it there. But either way, we're back on the clock here, and we do see I was actually targeting Davis Price. He goes off the board. I'm just going to take the second round draft capital receiver and plug my nose. I don't really like it. I'm not a huge fan of Thornton, but I mean, if he can carve out a role and maybe even be, Nelson Aguilar, whatever. He's got speed. He's got the draft capital. He'll get the opportunity. So can't really hope for much at the late third at that point. It was a pleasure to Thoughts on Auden? He's got potential in that offense. Yeah, I mean, Auden is a sneaky player. Not the greatest athlete, but I mean, I feel like he can have a Dalton Schultz-esque type of ceiling, which, I mean, if you're playing with Tom Brady, he's worth like, an early 4th round. I mean, heck, late 3rd on, if you want to throw a dart throw on Auden. I'm not going to get too fussed about it. That is how ambiguous this draft is after about the mid-second. To be honest, how much would you pay to move from 107 to 104? I mean, you imagine you want to give a late 2 to make that move. I'm more than fine with it. I mean, I do see a big difference there. whatever can get it done. I think you can get it for, you mentioned 210 in the 107. Somebody might be willing to do that to get extra capital this year. Alec at 3-3. Yeah, no, Alec Pierce at 3-3 is a really solid pick there. Should I trade down from 102 to get a late first in 2 seconds? I'm taking the 102 there, Sabri. As much as, we'll say Jahan Dotson or George Pickens or Christian Watson are solid. I mean, I'm locked and loaded at, a London, a Burks, or a Walker, or a Wilson at that 102. So that wouldn't be enough for me there. What's the most you would offer for the 105, knowing it's going to be London? In terms of relative draft capital, I mean, I'd be willing to, like, say you picked, 110 and you want to make that move up. Like, if you can give, 110 and 202 to make that move, I'd be fine with that personally. Like, genuinely speaking, I would like to know your relative market of your league, because again, if you can do 110 and 202 to make that done, I'd be more than fine with that. Yeah, that's brutal there, Scott. I am Canadian there, Barefoot. Glad you recognize that. Got a little bit of the accent rolling. Yeah, he's your guy, bro. You were all over him pre-draft, bro. I mean, him over Sky was your personal ranking. I heard you did prefer Alec Pierce to Sky more, if I remember that correctly, Brock. If you guys don't know, I'm being satirical. Zamir in the white in the fourth is a steal. It's about appropriate value. I understand there is a decent ceiling there. We talked about it in the running back rankings. I'm not a personal fan of him as a prospect. I thought he really lacked enough burst to be a plus starter in the league, but there is opportunity. I mean, Jacobs' fifth-year option was declined. Maybe he gets the opportunity to be, that prototypical early down banger, which is probably going to be his role in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Raiders do with Jacobs, but even if, Jacobs misses a couple games, gets hurt, whatever, Zamir White could be, 10 to 15 carry type of back. Could we do we can mix in a one quarterback mock right after this. I'm more than fine with that there. Is this super flex? This current one is in fact super flex. Now, the funny thing is that you couldn't be able to tell because there's, like, other than Kenny Pickett, no good quarterbacks this year. So it sucks, but yeah, the one quarterback aside from Pickett is probably going to look very similar, in my opinion, Michael. What pick should I be able to move up with the 109 and the 204? I would really, if you can possibly target that 105, because I do view it as the tier break after the 105. If you can target the 105 with that, I would definitely try to move up for that. Yeah. Yeah, no, these things fill up very quickly. Currently 90 concurrent viewers in the stream right now. So y'all are degenerates like I am, and I absolutely love that. And we're back on the clock here. No quarterbacks worth drafting. I mean, argue with your mother if you want to hang out or you want to hype up Bailey Zappi, whatever. You want to mix in a tight end too. That's cool. Jake Ferguson, Daniel Bellinger, Jeremy Ruckert are all worth those. Actually, Ferguson does go ahead of me. Oddly enough, he must know I'm a Cowboys fan. But I do see here. Where did I see it? Oh, I'll take the chance on Kyron Williams here. I mean, pass catching role, fifth round capital isn't the greatest, but I mean, if he can log, third down snaps on a high power Rams offense, it's worth a 411. So either way, I'll catch a couple comments, start up another one, and get that link right back in the chat. And there we are, joined by the Bushman himself.
What's going on?
Everybody's asking about our running back rankings. They aren't ready for that video that's about to pop out, eh?
Yeah, it's processing right now, so it should be live, 5 o'clock or so.
Big W. Yeah, no, we somebody asked, they're like, can we do a one quarterback next? I'm like, well, basically, are doing a one. No, I'm kidding. But
they are all one quarterback drafts for the most part.
I've got no first due to a trade up to get Joe Burrow early in the season, but have 2 seconds and 2 thirds. So I'm hoping to have. Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, Pierce or White, as you mentioned, are fine second round dart throws, I think. What's Kirk's relative value as far as pick? Yeah, Christian Kirk 205 is probably about a pro. And maybe a little bit earlier because his draft class is kind of stinky. But like, what would you rather have, Christian Kirk or like James Cook?
I'd rather have James Cook, I think.
But like after Cook, is that probably where you'd put him?
I think I'd rather have Wandale and Mechie out of the wide receivers in this class. But after them, like I think I'd rather have Christian Kirk than Alec Pierce and Jalen Tolbert and those type of guys. So I would say I got Wandale at the 212 in our listener league draft, but if Wandale and Mechie are off the board in the early second round, especially Pickens and Watson, those other guys going ahead of them, then I think I'd rather have Christian Kirk. I actually have both Christian Kirk and Wandell and Mechie on our listener league team. So
oddly enough. I'll offer the 107, 307, and a 2023 second rounder for the 104. Damn. I honestly,
I don't know if I would have given up that much. It's
I'd be willing to
it's
give that.
understandable if you want, Burks or Wilson or whoever, maybe Walker at that 104. And you're giving up, let's just say Jameson Williams, Olave, or whatever receiver, Sky Moore.
I'd be
and
willing
a
to give that.
307 and a 2023 second. I guess I can understand it, but I mean, if you can get Jameson Williams at the 107, I'd probably just stick and pick at the 107 rather than give all that up to get up to like Garrett Wilson or something.
I mean, 20, like, let's just say that's a mid-projected second rounder. I mean, whatever, like
you're probably going to get a pretty decent player in that class, and any mid-second rounder in next year's class would likely be the 111, 112, 201 in this class.
For sure, but I mean, it's worth the upgrade in my opinion to get to like a Burks or a London or a Wilson for me personally.
Yeah, if that's London at 104, then I probably can rationalize that for sure. But if it's Burks or Wilson, I might just stick and pick at Jameson Williams or Olave.
Favorite deep stash rookies to get from waivers.
Ross.
Yeah, Justin Ross is not bad. I mean, if we're talking about just straight upside, if we're looking here, I mean, fuck, it's kind of gross. Can I not see the board after these draft ends? Like,
I guess not.
Cool.
I would say any late round running backs that go on that don't go drafted in your leagues, I would say are probably just always decent stashes. Anytime you can stash a running back with like opportunity potential, that's fine. Any wide receivers that we didn't like draft because like Eric, I don't even know how to pronounce that guy's name, but like he got drafted in like round 4, and if he goes undrafted in your rookie draft, I mean, he's a wide receiver with round 4 draft capital. It's not a terrible stash through taxi squad.
It's not the worst, yeah. I mean, it's decent fodder, as I'll say.
Yeah, they're big time fodder pieces. Jesse says, would you trade 107, 110, and Renfro to move up to the 102 and take Drake London? So you're giving up, presumably like 2 of Olave, Dotson, Jameson Williams, and Sky Moore, most likely, maybe Christian Watson, to get up to the 102 and take Drake London. You're also giving up Hunter Renfro.
I'm fine with it.
It's a lot to give up, man. I would say it's probably warranted if you have like a stars and studs type, or you have like a studs type of roster and you're just looking for another piece. Like you have good depth already, but if you can't afford to give up depth, I probably wouldn't do that.
I personally, I mean, I also really, really value the star, as we know. So
I do too, but I still think, at 107, you're still going to get like Jameson Williams.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, it's a good player, but I mean, that's right on like the edge of fair.
I think if I need depth, like if I can get Jameson Williams, Jahan Dotson, and Hunter Renfro for Drake London, I would take it.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I could see that. It's all the medicals with that guy because the talent is jumping out of the wazoo.
Right. So the thing with that term, because I hate the U word, the word upside is overused all the time. Because is there crazy athletic upside because of how good of an athlete he is? Yeah, but is there crazy production upside? We don't know yet because he wasn't, commanding a high level of targets in college at an FCS school with a, top 3 pick at quarterback for 1 or 2 of those seasons. So it's hard for me to imagine that Christian Watson delivers on this hypothetical upside that people have in store for him. I expect him more likely to be replacing Marquez Valdez-Scantling than replacing Devontae Adams, if I'm being honest.
Yep. Sorry, just looking at a text.
Yeah, I got it. Where would you take Justin Ross? I'm in a 1 quarterback league. Probably not to the 4th round.
Yeah.
He's undrafted. I'm not going to take him over guys that, got decent draft capital. As much as I like Justin Ross, and I thought he was like, a late 3rd round type of wide receiver, I still think you can't take him until the 4th round for sure.
Agree with you. I'm going to link you the private chat, and once you're in, I'll share it publicly.
In a superflex, was able to trade Hopkins and Wentz a month ago for a 1st next year and a 3rd this year. I think that's definitely a good move.
Yep.
Anytime you can turn, I wouldn't say, Hopkins isn't necessarily a questionable asset, but he's, definitely taken a downturn in value, especially considering he's going to miss some of his win now appeal, being suspended for the first 6 games. You got your Discord shared right now.
Yeah, I know. I was sending it.
I want Burks so bad. Huge Titans fan here. Trying to decide between Jameson and Olave at the 107. I have Olave 106, Jameson 107, but I might wake up tomorrow and switch them. Like it's that close between those 2 guys.
Also, I was almost very, very dumb and did not claim a spot, so that would have been very bad. Here now we're just gonna randomize that draft order and boom.
Yeah, there's upside in spending your paycheck on scratch offs. I must have missed something, but
Oh, nice. I'm 112. That's great.
I'm picking at the 105. I think the 105 is a great spot to be picking at, obviously, because
Yeah,
you're
it's very
guaranteed
good.
one of those top guys.
Locked into that top 2 tier.
Yeah. So I haven't seen a mock draft because I'm seeing it all over Twitter. I'm seeing people with nonsensical takes. Like I'm going to take, Treylon Burks 101 and stuff. I'm like, why the hell are you doing that? Like there's no reason to be doing that.
But and that kind of goes back to our 5 biggest mistakes videos, that people are so arrogant that they would rather outsmart the market, as I kind of said.
Even if that works out for you, you could have gotten an extra second round.
That's what I'm saying. Like, take advantage of the inefficient market. Don't just take a guy at, 3 when he's projected 12 because, I got a gut feeling, like, shut up. No.
Yeah, literally. We like players, ahead of their value, just like everybody else. Everybody's got their guys. I love Jahan Dotson. I love David Bell. I love Sam Howell. I love, Tyler Algier. Everybody knows this, but I'm not going to like take them way ahead of value just to like prove that I was ahead of the curve on them. Like it just makes sense to take them in the neighborhood that they're going. Because if you, for whatever reason, you love Sky Moore at the 102 and you take Sky Moore at the 102, you're sacrificing potentially a future first rounder from moving down from 102 to 106 just to guarantee. Because like I think 105, 106 is like the highest you're ever going to see Sky Moore go in an actual draft. So I would probably like if I was, going to take Sky Moore at 102, I would trade down from 102 to 105, 106, see what I can get. Maybe I can get somebody to throw in, a Monroe St. Brown or, a early second rounder or something like that.
Yep. As we do see, just to recap the draft so far, as you guys can see, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Treylon Burks, Drake London, and then Bush took Garrett Wilson at 5. Prototypical top 5. I mean, you're going to see that almost everywhere, unless, somebody's trying to be a Fugazi or whatever. Then we see Sky Moore, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave. 3 of the next 4. We'll see where Fantasy King leans here. Myself and Corey would both take Jahan Dotson.
Right. And I think Garrett Wilson is a guy to keep an eye on if you guys have a late first round pick, because if he starts to slide because of the Jets landing spot, like I'm very, very willing to trade up for him. So if he's on the board 106, 107, 108, which is going to happen in some people's leagues because, more casual players are going to look at, the Chiefs receiver and Sky Moore, Jameson Williams, they might have just thought was a better prospect. Christian Watson going to the Green Bay Packers, and Garrett Wilson's on the board at 108 and you pick it like the 112, 111 or something. See what it costs to go up and get him, because I have him as my 104. I don't think he should be going outside the top 5 for sure. So I'm really curious to see in all of my rookie drafts to see if is he going to consistently go in the top 5 in every league, or are some people going to let him slide?
One thing I'll quickly say, you guys did see I took David Bell at the 112. I'll just tell you right now, if I am in a a non-listener league draft, because obviously you guys that follow us will know how good David Bell is. If I'm in a home league or an industry league, I am gauging the value of that 112 and seeing if I can move down to the 202 or 203, knowing that the community is going to value Christian Watson and James Cook most
probably
likely
Rashad
over
White
David
too.
Bell. Correct. So in that scenario, for example, again, because it's a mock draft and I can't trade, I'll take David Bell. But in that type of scenario, as I mentioned in that mistakes video, be flexible, be proactive, be creative when you're on the clock. If you can get, the 202 or 203 along with, a 2023 second or something because somebody really, really wants Christian Watson, that is extra free value that you would have gotten. And then you still get the player that you would have valued there as it is. So,
Right.
little
So
tricks
in a
that you can
12-team, 2 quarterback, 1 tight end league, rebuilding currently, first Dynasty rookie draft. Any tips? Definitely go watch the video we dropped yesterday about mistakes that you do not want to make in your rookie draft. And also, again, you continue to tune into mock drafts that we're doing here so you know relative value of these players. And if you have any questions too, feel free to reach out to us if you're stuck on the clock or whatever. And like Danny said, being creative is very, very important. It's hard if it's your first rookie draft because you might not know the value of certain players and picks. But again, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, he countered with Kirk 220. I guess there's a lot of teams in this league, or I don't know. For 205 and 27.
I will say, if there's 20 teams in this league, just give me Christian Kirk, because the 2.5 and the 2.7 are probably like freaking,
basically like third round pick.
Third round pick, yeah. Like that's interesting. Maybe that's just a misclick or a mistype. I've been busy. Hey, congrats on the new baby there, Jake. Yeah, no worries,
And
man.
I'm going JMO there all day.
107. Yeah, give me JMO over Watson pretty easily there. And he's leaning JMO. Just wanted that confirmation. Yes, we would go with Jameson Williams there. And again, congrats on the baby. More likely to overdraft. Yeah, I mean, second, I'm fine if you want to go a little bit more ahead of the curve.
Especially in this draft class,
Yeah.
I would say it's okay. Last year, I probably would have said, there's some guys at the top of the second that really need to be at the top of the second. Like if Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman are fall into like the 201, 202, or if you really, wanted to invest in, Rondale Moores and Terrace Marshalls and Amon Ross and Kadarius Tonys. I think if you were to just like reach ahead, way ahead of ADP and take somebody ahead of those guys, I probably would have had a question mark about it. But yeah, overall, I think in the second round in this year's draft class, I don't think it's terrible. Did I just get auto picked?
Yes.
I mean, Rashad White's not a terrible option.
Tampa Bay. Let's go.
Yeah, little Bucks pick there.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, kudos
I mean,
to
he
Bill
could have traded down into the second round and
Yeah.
picked Cole Strange instead of picking him in the first round.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Jets
exactly.
would have traded down with him. They wanted to come up and get Brees Hall.
Yeah. Could we also talk about too? I remember they had a draft class a couple years ago where they had 4 total picks. None of them like in the first like 2 rounds.
Was that the
And-
Joanne Williams class?
No, they had 4 picks and took 2 tackles and 2 edges.
That's building up the trenches if I've ever seen it. Okay, I think I misspoke, AJ. Wilson actually is my 103. Sorry, I meant to say 103. He's my wide receiver 2, ahead of Burks. But I mean, between him, Burks, and Walker, there's not a huge like 101 and 102 with Hall and London are pretty set in stone for me. But Wilson, Burks, and Walker is all going to kind of depend on team need and things of that nature. Those guys are probably in their own tier together, even though I semi include Drake London in that tier.
Also, I just want to say, so I actually ended up taking Malik Willis there at the 212. If you hear people saying, take this guy at the end of the first, take this guy in the early second, all that fool guys, do not invest that type of capital because your opportunity cost at that point is George Pickens, David Bell, John Mechie, Christian Watson, even though I don't like Christian Watson, James Cook, like all of these type of players is your opportunity cost when you're taking them up there. When I'm taking Malik Willis at the 212 and I'm seeing, best available players, Tolbert, Shakir, Corral, Howell, like the tight ends, whatever, that is when I'm willing to take the risk on a guy like Malik Willis. We need to let go of this pre-draft bias we had. I get it. I was the biggest proponent of taking this guy at the 102 when he was projected that early to mid first round draft capital. But listen, we got to be water. We got to be fluid. The NFL said this guy is the 86th best player in this draft. Therefore, he is going to get the opportunity to start in the NFL that an 86th overall pick would. This is completely different than if he went, 10th or 15th overall and maybe had to sit a year because they would have had that investment into him. Now, at the 212, I'm willing to take the chance on a high upside type of player if he gets a starting role eventually. Because, I mean, the case here, the comparison here is literally Jalen Hurts. If Carson Wentz does not, struggle in that rookie year, get traded and leave an opportunity for Jalen Hurts, maybe Jalen Hurts is still a backup right now. We don't know. Again, obviously,
and he was a second round pick too.
He's grown as a player. He's become a starting caliber NFL quarterback, which, I mean, Malik could definitely do. But, I mean, the opposite case of that would be Kellen Mond last year.
Will Greer or Kyle Trask last year. Like there's a number of other examples that we have, David Webb and all the guys that have gone in the third round in recent years. It's not a great list. Davis Mills is probably the most successful of any third round quarterback so far in the last 10 drafts that it's gone in the third round. And even Davis Mills, like, can you get a first round pick for Davis Mills right now? No,
not even
so
close.
Why would you spend a first round pick on Davis Mills?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually had this conversation with Akash Weiser, right? And we were basically talking about, like, why would you invest early second round picks into these quarterbacks when their value insulation, like bull case, their peak case, is just above Davis Mills because of the rushing upside? Like, realistically, Davis Mills on the market, like, you'd be probably lucky to get, the 202, 203 for him.
Right.
You'd be
And
lucky.
at that point, you might as well just kind of hold him and see what happens.
And that is like one of the best case scenarios for a third round quarterback in his rookie year in terms of value accumulation. If you're taking Malik Willis there is only downside risk at that point. If you're taking Desmond Ridder there, there's only downside risk at that point. So the fact that people are so willing to still, I mean, we saw it yesterday, like our biggest mistakes video. Malik Willis's ADP in more casual leagues in the first round. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, no,
even if he has a good year, he's not going to be worth the first. So why are we forcing it?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's because his class is bad. That's why it's happening for the most part. So he meant 210. So it's Christian Kirk 210 for 2.5 and 2.7.
I mean, at this point, quickly, I'll take the second round receiver at the 312, and I just misclicked. I'll take the second round receiver at the 312.
Oh yeah, I think Thornton is actually going to be a
sneaky undervalued. Yeah,
he's a sneaky good value. I think if I didn't take Shakir at 3.5 and he was the best available player, I would have taken him over Brian Robinson and all these like running backs here.
Side note, the next one we could do one quarterback because I completely forgot to say that at the beginning of this one, but I'll change the title for the next one. We'll do a one quarterback. There probably isn't going to be much of a difference.
Yeah. So thoughts on Christian Watson at the 110? Any receivers you prefer in that range? Yeah, I prefer Jahan Dotson. I prefer, honestly, I prefer David Bell, but I probably wouldn't draft him at 110. I'd probably trade down and just take him at a different point. And then if either of Olave, Sky Moore, or Jameson Williams falls as well, I would prefer those guys. But Christian Watson to me would be right in a tier with him and just him and David Bell as like my 111, 112, and then probably George Pickens in that tier as well.
Yep.
But I 110, I'm okay drafting Christian Watson. It's not too high for him, I don't think.
And you are back on the clock here after getting autoed.
So wide receiver. Ugh. Ew. This is disgusting board right now. At running back, Pierre Strong kind of stands out as a guy that I might be willing to invest in here. I'm not touching a fucking quarterback. This class is so bad at this point. Justin Ross would be interesting at this point in the draft as well, but I'll take Pierre Strong. He's got 4th round draft capital, and I liked him as a prospect.
Yeah, you fleeced that. How'd you get Mechie and Algier at the 303 and 4? What the hell?
Yeah, that's great.
Kirk 210 for 205 and 207. I think that's a fair deal both ways.
Yeah, I think Kirk in the 207. He's more valuable than about as valuable as the 205. It's pretty close, honestly. It really depends what you think of Christian Kirk. Yep,
I think guys that suck, but with a good landing spot, good third rounds. I can't. You couldn't pay.
I'm just like not going to draft him. Like I don't disagree with you because I think you could make the case for anybody in the 3rd round of this draft class, but I just don't want these players. Like the likelihood that they hit is so low. But I do think at the 4.8 where Metzger just got Velus Jones, that's fine.
Sure.
Like I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, like if this guy's an early 4th or 3rd, like no thanks. But I mean, it's 408. Like we're taking
whatever.
We're taking guys we hope make the team at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like when you trade up and you should I feel like when you trade up you should always be moving up a tier, and if you trade down to see if you can move down while staying in the same tier. That's pretty much how I look at it too. So for those of you guys that are curious, because I tweeted it out today, I actually did make a trade up in our rookie draft. Wan'Dale Robinson was on the board at the 212, and I was picking at the 3-3, I believe. And I didn't think he was going to fall to me because I just thought he would be going with the next couple picks. And I traded up using, I think, Trey Sermon and a late 3rd next year to plus my 303 to get up to 212 to take Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm not a huge Wan'Dale Robinson guy, but if you're telling me I can get like a borderline top 40 pick at wide receiver at the 212, I think that's good. I think that's pretty similar to what we said about Kadarius Toney last year, right? People were letting Kadarius Toney fall to the late 2nd, early 3rd round of rookie drafts, and I think that was a mistake. Like, yes, we didn't really like Kadarius Toney as a prospect, but a 1st round wide receiver, a top 50 pick at wide receiver like Wan'Dale Robinson, it's worth something. And the Wan'Dale Robinson pick tells me too that Kadarius Toney's going to get traded. Like, I don't think he's going to be on the team come week 1, if not even get cut outright potentially.
Yep. No, I agree with you there. Sorry, I'm just launching this draft.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say, Matt, is that he has a better profile than Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore was a better athlete.
Bush, get in here. I just sent in the Discord backs.
Oh, no worries.
Hop in quick.
Rondale Moore was a better athlete than Wan'Dale Robinson. Sorry, it's such a hard way to talk about those two players.
No, you're good.
Rondale Moore was a better athlete than Wan'Dale Robinson, but Wan'Dale Robinson had more production, better production, higher target share, and didn't have the injury concerns coming into the NFL. So I think they're about similar prospects, except Rondale was like consistently an early second round pick, and Wan'Dale Robinson is like a mid to late second round pick, even though Wan'Dale got drafted actually a few picks higher as well.
The one thing I'll say about Wan'Dale versus Rondale, it's funny that those names rhyme. Wan'Dale actually can win down the field. Like, he's shown an ability to win in that deep third. We never saw that from Rondale Moore. So if we're comparing them as prospects, yeah, it sucks because I mean Rondale obviously like is the comparison, if you will, except Rondale has elite athleticism, Wan'Dale doesn't. But if we're getting Wan'Dale, who I feel like is a more complete wide receiver, over Rondale, and I mean Wan'Dale's going, the mid to late second, I'm fine with taking that dart throw, honestly. And again, if it misses, it misses. But I mean, I'm more in on Wan'Dale than I was on Rondale, which is
right.
I mean,
like 144 targets, 1,334 yards, a 40% target share this year for Wan'Dale Robinson, like in SEC too, in a better conference. That never happened for Rondale Moore. His 2018 was very, special, Rondale Moore's, but he didn't have a huge target share that year. He was just really efficient, and he tore the fuck out of Ohio State. So everybody paid attention.
Did you see what Ryan Tannehill said, by the way?
About Malik Willis. He's like, it's not my job to mentor him, but he can learn from me, kind of thing.
Yeah, like
I've seen Bell fall. Yeah, dude, David Bell is going so undervalued. It's not even funny.
Ridiculous.
If you can get him anywhere outside of like the 1-2 turn, I think it's a huge value because I've seen people get him at like the 212.
Yeah. Also, there's literally one spot in here. There's 109 people watching. I expect one person to fill this up.
Yeah. And the funny thing too is that with how obsessed people are with landing spot, I'm surprised David Bell isn't being overrated because it tied to Deshaun Watson.
Because the next thing,
that's
what I was just about to say. People will be willing to overlook the landing spot with him just because he's a bad athlete. But I mean, as I was talking before you came in,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, no,
he was a bad athlete too. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Would y'all trade Elijah Mitchell? I mean,
I don't care about needs. Give me the value.
for pick 103.
I don't care about the value. I don't care.
I don't care what position he is on my team. I would rather have the 103 in a heartbeat than.
That's what I was just about to, like, dude. Genuinely speaking, he could be your RB1.
I don't give a shit.
Also, can I get a different pick other than 111 and 112, please?
Yeah, I got pretty solid.
Jesus. Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith or Lawrence and Adams. Give me Lawrence and Adams there. Personally, there, Metzger. I'm assuming you agree.
Yeah, so this one's a one quarterback, by the way. So for those of you guys that are in this one, don't pick Kenny Pickett in the first round.
It's a one quarterback. I left it up here.
I just reminded him in the chat.
Bush, I'm assuming you agree. Lawrence and Adams.
Yeah, give me Lawrence and Adams.
Agreed, Brock. Mills got I mean, the problem with him is he doesn't have a high ceiling.
Got drafted this year because the class stinks. Yeah. But will they get drafted next year? Because the Texans aren't going to be good again.
Yeah. Like, if you need, a stopgap quarterback 3, like, sure.
Also, do you know how many quarterbacks are projected to go in the first round next year?
Like 6.5.
6.5 is the betting line.
Yeah, I'm taking the under there every day.
I'm taking the under there for sure, but like that speaks to the fact that Davis Mills is not safe next year.
For sure.
They're going to probably have a top 10 pick. I'd be surprised if they didn't. And if they're in striking distance of CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, maybe another quarterback emerges as a top guy like Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett did this year, I definitely think that the Texans are going to be well in the market for a quarterback. And if they have a top 10 pick, probably means that Davis Mills was fine, but not great.
Agreed. Also, can we quickly talk about the fact, did you bet what I sent you yesterday? We'll keep it a little low key because I mean, there's 110.
No, I didn't bet that.
Oh, okay. Well, there's 110 people in here. I'm sure we can't completely influence the betting market, but if you guys are betting, Drake London, current over under on Bet365, 786 yards in his rookie season. In a 7, okay, I know there's some downside risk. He gets hurt or misses that, whatever. 786 yards. If he plays 17 games, that's 46 yards per game for him in a receiving core that literally only has Kyle Pitts.
Yeah,
so if you guys want to make some money right now, go bet that.
For him, from a receiving yardage standpoint, is like what we saw from Devontae Smith this year, most likely.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe you set the line at like high 8s, low 9s. I'd be more willing there. But 786, that's just a fucking steal. That's 46 yards per game. Like, What are we
Yeah.
doing, guys?
So Noah took James Cook at 109 in this draft. Now, I like James Cook. I can't do it. I can't take him
no,
over. I can't
not
take him
over.
over
Oh
Jahan
shoot,
Dodson,
I'm on
who's
the
still on
clock.
the board, who you're about to pick most
Oh,
likely. I
easy.
can't pick him over even Christian Watson, who I'm not like high on as a prospect. Same with George Pickens. The risk with James Cook is that he is a undersized running back, and undersized running backs typically don't get big workloads. Second round pick to Buffalo, all makes sense, but James Cook to me is just he's going a little overrated. If he went at the 201 here, or the 202 here, that's again more appropriate value. And we talked about that in the running back video that'll be dropping later today.
And Corey, I messaged you on Twitter too, but absolute steal. I mean,
That's the dumbest trade that an Elijah Moore owner has ever made. Like, how do you give up Elijah Moore for 2 mid-round running backs like that?
Yeah, you absolutely cheese that right there. That chart, again, if you guys want more information like that, at DecoFF on Twitter, very, very resourceful follow. We'll tweet that a lot. I mean, this is the definition of an Excel wizard. Like every single ADP data, every Excel type of data that you could look for, he has. So one of my favorite follows, genuinely. Like that chart was very, very helpful.
Yeah, and the chart if you guys don't know what he's talking about, you can check it out. It's at the last mistake in yesterday's video. It shows basically the probability of a player being on the board when you pick at, let's say, the 203 or whatever. So that way, if you love David Bell, like I love David Bell, and I would pick him at 110, 111, 112, and you want to know, is he going to be there at 203? Then you can kind of see the probability from that perspective.
I don't mind that. I mean, if you want to take your guy, if you want to take a dart throw, I'm not going to hate it. I disagree there. I hate Christian Watson, but he's going to get more opportunity right off the bat. I mean, as much as I dislike Christian Watson, I think that's a little bit too far.
Yeah. But by all means, if you like Dubs, take him in the third round of all your rookie drafts, because if he hits, then obviously it's a great pick.
For sure. Someone also traded land. And I'm assuming this is a one quarterback league. If it's a one quarterback, it's a little
I'm not
closer.
giving 3 firsts up for any wide receiver unless they're named Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase.
And that's what I say. It's a little bit closer in a one quarterback league, but I would still take the draft capital even as a big CD fan. So,
yeah,
I agree. Did you see the price for CD? Yeah, no, you wish, bro. You wish.
Yeah, big fact.
Yeah, I offered you Bateman plus, brother, and you just said nah. So, I mean, well, we can work that. Come get your stack, bro. Lamar and Bateman. Let's go. How do you guys extrapolate this out? If I'm in a 32 team, what in the
bro? I don't even know 32 people.
Brother, I can try to contextualize that for you, but I could just imagine one single like average quarterback is probably worth like your whole draft. Like,
yeah,
what 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah, that's crazy,
dude. You're starting like backups in the quarterback
spot. Like Taysom Hill is a viable starter,
dude. Crazy. I could see that there. By the way,
yeah, Kadarius Toney. They also could be talking him up for trade value though too. Because the word got out that he doesn't work hard or doesn't committed to football or whatever, and that hurts his trade value. So if they're saying that, it's possible. Where there's smoke, there's fire for the most part, and there's been a lot of smoke on Kadarius Toney on the trade block.
Wandale's interesting. Yeah, no, I can agree with that there, Brock too. Odds on Rojo. Okay, he's not going to take Rojo's job, or Rojo's not going to take Clyde's job. This is going to be a committee. Rojo's probably going to handle first and second down work. Clyde's probably going to get some action on third down, and this is probably going to be, if I were to guess right now, I'd say this is probably like a 60-40 Clyde split, 55-45, something like that.
I think it's just going to be gross. I don't really want any of them. I'll take a shot on Rojo and Best Ball, but I don't really want either of them, to be honest.
For sure. We got the boy Swift in the chat saying Olave. I know he's a big New Orleans fan all around.
I didn't actually know that, so now I'm gonna have to flame him for being a big New Orleans fan.
Well, because I know he went to the Pelicans game.
Yeah, I saw that. Now that makes sense. Now that he's a New Orleans fan.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have some battles there. By the way, if you guys aren't already subscribed to Swift, go check out his channel. Ton of great Madden content over there. So quickly had to shout him out. Fellow underdog fantasy incubator. So there we go. Brock says, "Don't pick it in the first round." I could still like.
I'm probably not going to take him either, but not because I don't value him there, because I just don't want him on my team. I'll probably just trade him to somebody else.
He's going to go too high for my own value. Again, he's my current 111. He's most likely going to
find
off
the board 106 to 108 for the most part, and sometimes I've seen people take him 104, 105.
Also, I'm on the clock here. I didn't realize. I'll take my boy Tolbert. I mean, Swift talked about his boy Olave. You got your boy Rashad White earlier. I had to get my boy Jalen Tolbert. Go
I got auto
Cowboys.
picked Rashad White. So, complete rebuild. Thoughts on trading 101 for 106 and 111 in Superflex League? So if you're trying to trade the 101 and you're in a complete rebuild, I would rather trade it for future year's draft capital than this year's, personally. Yep. And if you're going to get this year's draft capital, I would need more than 106 and 111.
Yep. You all said you would trade. Yeah, I'm more than fine paying an extra mid-second to get myself from Mitchell to, again, one of a locked-in Hall, London, or Burks/Wilson, whoever you choose, and heck, even Walker at that point. Talking about a few people to trade out of the 102 in a Superflex 10-team tight end premium. Would you want Waddle, Kittle plus a 3? What? Give me Waddle and Kittle. What?
Yeah, easily Waddle and Kittle.
What? Why is
102?
Why is Waddle and Kittle worth Judy?
Yeah, well, for the 102, I would take Waddle straight up for the 102 and laugh myself to the bank.
Oh, dude, it's either Waddle straight up, Kittle plus that package, or Judy plus that package. Okay.
In a tight end premium, I might take Kittle then.
That's close. Who are your current tight ends? Because I mean, Waddle.
10 team league, tight end premium. Kittle's a huge difference maker. I'd probably take Kittle.
Yeah, either way, I feel like you're making
out over Waddle straight up. I think as well.
I was gonna say, I feel like in the tight end premium, especially, you're making out like a very well in either of those scenarios. So, definitely one of the first two, though. I mean, Judy is not even remotely in that discussion, in my opinion.
Honestly, the bet is if does he get injured. It's literally just does he get injured.
Literally, I think I put 250 on it. Like I'm like, okay, like yeah, like it's a lot to risk, but there's a lot to win here.
How much does it pay if you get it?
Let me just double check here. I think it was like minus 120 odds.
Okay, so like almost a double up.
Yeah, which I mean is worth it.
There are 6 rookie quarterbacks next year. Then I bet Jahan Dotson or Carson Wentz is not Jahan Dotson's QB. Dude, I bet Jahan Dotson doesn't have Carson Wentz as his quarterback midway through the season. Whether it's Heineke or Sam Howell, I highly doubt Carson Wentz is the QB the entire 17-game season.
I agree with that. Here, one sec. Let me just check this.
Come on, man. Cook is a satellite back. I agree. That's my view of Cook as well. He's a good satellite back, and he'll be in a great offense, so he's going to have fantasy value. But realistically, what is James Cook's absolute ceiling? Like a high-end RB2 on a touchdown variance, high target type of season?
Quickly, one sec too, Corey. So it's over for 785.5. I staked $225. It pays out $420 at minus 115 odds.
That's not bad. I feel like Watson is a good player to draft because he's going to get some hype during training camp. You could flip him later solely based on potential. That is a very good point. There's no guarantee that you actually have to keep these players that you draft, right? You could trade them at any point in time, which is why we always talk about taking the best player available, because you're not married to these players. You don't have them on your roster for the next 4 years. So even if you don't really like a guy that much, you could still, potentially flip him at a later point. My only problem with doing that with Watson is that if he misses any training camp time, like he is a developmental prospect. So if he misses any time in training camp or in the preseason, or he's, getting out to a slow start or whatever, he's a very high risk of face planting his rookie season, in my opinion.
For sure.
Even though there's nobody else in that receiving core, I think there's a very, very good chance that he's a high risk of face planting.
Would you rather Hall in London or Jefferson?
I'd rather have Jefferson, but it's not a terrible trade.
I agree, but it's interesting because like you never see that. And again, if you're rebuilding, I don't hate it as much, or I don't hate it at all. I mean, how do I explain it? I don't dislike it as much, but I would take Jefferson, but I understand again, like Hall's a top.
Yeah, it's essentially you're getting a 2-3 turn startup pick and a 4-5 turn startup pick for a late first, basically. Yeah. Which I would take late first by a slight amount, but it's probably pretty fair.
Yeah. Late first. I mean, I guess late. He's currently, I believe, my one time. Yeah, late. Yeah.
Right.
Y'all should run a startup mock with these rookies.
Definitely run a startup mock soon.
For sure. I mean, we kind of wanted to focus the majority of the content on the rookie mock as I'm on the clock. I'm about to make a pick for this week, as a lot of you guys are either in the midst of your rookie draft or preparing for your rookie draft. But after this week, once you guys do your rookie drafts, well, I don't mind doing a startup rookie mock or startup mock every day, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we do, baby.
Evan says Isaiah Pacheco, look out for him. All right.
Yep.
Again, if you love Isaiah Pacheco, by all means, draft him
Go
in
for
every
it.
4th-round rookie draft that you're in. I don't really care for him. I know he's a Kansas City Chiefs running back, which is why I'm assuming you are
Yep.
interested in him. But again, in the 4th round, take your shots. If you like Pacheco, by all means, take your shot.
Yep.
I feel like Pierce is being slept on considering his backfield mates. I don't think he's being slept on. I think most people kind of recognize that. He went in the 2-7 in this draft, but I could tell you that that's probably like on the low point of where I normally see him going.
I've
For
seen him in
people
the
on
first.
Twitter, I've seen people on Twitter say that he should go in the 1st round.
Yep. I traded out of the 112 when Pickett was on the board in the league.
Yeah, that's again, like if you're in a super flex league and you don't want Kenny Pickett, because I've shared the same sentiment. I didn't think he was a good prospect. Then by all
I would
means,
need
dangle Kenny Pickett to your league mates and trade out.
I would need probably a quarterback in return if I'm doing that. Like if you can trade up flip, I mean, I doubt it's possible because if he's going at 112, clearly your league's lower on it. But I'd say if you could flip Pickett into like Derek Carr, I would do that.
Yeah, I'd be willing. I don't think most leagues would do that unless they're really high on Pickett. But if you can get Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, somebody like that in exchange for Kenny Pickett, or if you're just going to trade him for like a receiver or something, I'm cool with doing that as well. Agreed. Zero competition at running back. Yeah, Dameon Pierce is going to be a fun redraft in like best ball guy too.
Well, again, you guys are going to see that running back video, but we kind of talked about it and I kind of mentioned it, briefly mentioned it in this draft, but that 3 to 5 tier, I think we both kind of agree. Order it however you like. Cook, Algier, and Pierce for us. Algier and Pierce are way more redraft type of players, redraft type of assets, because you're banking on that projectable year one volume and hoping you could flip through for profit. With James Cook, I feel the reason why he is
and
my
Spiller
3,
and White, who are immediately after them in our video too.
Yeah. With James Cook, the reason why I have him ahead of that group, as you guys will see in the video as well, is that he, no matter what, is going to be insulated into a receiving back plus type of role. Like I think his projectable comparison would be like a McKissick plus. McKissick, let's just say, is your 6 to 8 carry guy. I can see a scenario where maybe James Cook is, an 8 to 12 carry guy while still having that projectable receiving ceiling. So that's why I would prefer a guy like Cook ahead of those guys that I don't think past this year have as much projectable value.
Yeah, I agree on that assessment. I think there's a couple guys that you want if you're a contender or if you just want to flip them after, halfway through the season or, at the end of the season or whatever. And then there's a couple other guys like, James Cook, maybe Rashad White, that project a little bit better long-term, should have some more job security, mainly due to the fact that they were drafted on day 2 relative to Algier and Pierce. I just need Wentz to play 12 games and I'm happy.
We didn't answer that.
Sorry.
Mido, honestly,
I have no idea. I've never played in an IDP league. I literally have no idea.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I just need Wentz. Yeah, no, I could see that.
I think they have a conditional pick. Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, that's why it becomes a third if he doesn't. If he comes a second, if he does.
True.
Oilers getting upset by the Kings. I mean, look at the way they looked last night.
Yesterday after the fucking Leafs absolutely stomped the Lightning, which you love to see.
Oh, fuck that. Honestly, watching that game, that was a very, very exciting game. If you guys watched Oilers versus Kings last night, you'll know that let's just say Mike Smith kind of threw the game away. I mean, this guy went to go play the puck, threw it right in front of his net, and basically resulted in a goal. Which
has that not been the story of every Edmonton Oilers playoff run?
It's literally
no goaltending.
That's the most Mike Smith freaking sounding play I've ever heard. Him turning the puck over in the wing.
Mike Smith, also former defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, former head coach of the Falcons as well. Alex Rivera says, for my trade, my tight ends are Knox and Gesicki. I'm mainly trying to figure out if I want Kittle as a top 3 tight end and trade away one of Knox, Gesicki, or get Waddle as my wide receiver 3. So, I mean, you're weak at wide receiver, and those tight ends are definitely better than your wide receiver depth. So I understand, wanting to just hold the tight ends and go with the wide receiver. It really, I mean, I don't have a huge conviction either way. I'm cool getting Waddle. I think he's a great upgrade, and I'm cool getting Kittle. If you can, I would shop the other guys first, see what you can get for Knox and Gesicki. If you can get a good value, depth wide receiver for Knox and Gesicki, then you're weighing Kittle and that player plus the picks that you get in that trade as well, instead of Waddle.
Yep. No, I agree with that. You're all good, Brock. Henry's going to get injured. I don't know about blow up. I mean, I love
He's
my
gonna be if Henry gets injured again, like he's gonna be Deontay Foreman from last
like
year if that
like
happens.
I love my my tone setter from Michigan, but I mean we throw
It's just
around the
not
word.
dynamic at all.
I was just about to say we throw around the word plotter, and it's pretty applicable in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
My rookie draft is at 7 p.m. tonight. Should I make potential trades now for picks or wait until the draft? 10 minutes, so it's a fast draft.
I would say map out the potential moves and gauge your market right now. Talk about potential owners who are willing to move or willing to be flexible when on the clock, and have it in their mind that, oh, if I don't like the value at this spot, you're willing to move up, or vice versa, you're willing to move down in given circumstances. I would give, potential league mates that notice right now that, oh, I'm willing to move up or down pending the circumstances. Be ready, have your phone ready for that circumstance. Because again, trying to organize all that with 10-minute clocks is very, very tough. At least if you kind of give that blueprint to them right now, they are prepared to make a deal. They don't feel like they're rushing a deal on the clock because that blueprint is already laid out by you.
Which is exactly what they do in the NFL too,
Yeah.
which is a 10-minute clock also. So yeah, if the guy who has the 106 this year is just loves Garrett Wilson and he's like, I'm not going to move unless Garrett Wilson is gone type of thing, then, send out a feeler to him, be like, hey, whatever guy you really covet at your pick, if he's off the board and you want to move down, hit me up real quick because there's a guy that I want to move up for. Let's say you love Jameson Williams or something like that.
Yep. No, exactly.
Damn, I was going to draft Ingram. Yeah, I went with Ingram at the 4-1 instead of
Good
Pierre
pick.
Strong. Strong, I would
Who?
have gone with, at face value, but I went with Strong in the 4th of the last draft, so I went with Deontay Ingram in that one.
I've never heard of this guy in my life. Have you heard of Samori Toure? Samori Toure? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I mean, get your guy in the 4th round. I genuinely don't care, but
Yeah.
it's just
All right,
funny because I've
so let's close up these questions and then we'll hop off
Yep.
out of here. So we,
Yep.
like we say all the time, we want other people to go back and watch these, get some value from them. We don't want them to be 2 hours long like the last one was, although you guys did go back and watch those. So we appreciate that for sure. Caleb says traded away Damian Harrison, Judy for Barkley and DJ Moore about a month ago. I don't even need to read the rest of that. You fucking took him to the woodshed. What's the minimum I could give up in a trade for the 108 in a 10-team dynasty?
I would give up in a trade for the 108.
You're not going to get it for Tim Patrick, so that's probably a bit unrealistic. I would say the minimum you could give up for the 108 pick is probably Chase Claypool, somebody like that.
Don't go out there trying to fleece somebody.
Yeah, there's no way that whatever person has the 108 is going to give you him for Tim Patrick.
Bro,
You're probably going to need.
I can tell you right now, you could offer me like Tim Patrick in the 111, and I wouldn't take that. I'm just gonna tell you that
So
right
I would say that the range of wide receiver you're talking about here is probably like Darnell Mooney, Kadarius Toney, Chase Claypool, Hunter Renfrow, Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster, Calvin Ridley, Gabriel Davis, somebody like that is what you're probably going to have to give up
Agreed.
in most leagues. Also, how do we feel about DJ Moore after the draft? I mean, not really a lot has changed. He still has a shit quarterback, but he does have Matt Corral now, so maybe Matt Corral can help him out. But I think they're going to be drafting a quarterback next year, personally.
I wanted to gauge your thoughts on this too. I said if you're contending and you want that elite tight end to take you over the top, I'm fine with making that move for Andrews.
So Mixon, basically the 105. I don't care about Hayden Hurst for Mark Andrews and Josh Jacobs. I actually have Josh Jacobs straight up rated over Joe Mixon in Dynasty. So I would rather have the Mark Andrews side, especially in a tight end premium.
Where do you guys value Lance in startup drafts? He's a top 12 to 15 pick at minimum, brother.
Yeah.
Would you guys trade 205? Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would as well.
If you can get into that,
then you could secure. You probably get Dotson with that pick for sure.
Dotson.
At the very least, you're going to get Watson or Bell or somebody like that.
Picking around the 1-2 turn is so tough. Yeah, I feel that, Jackson. Give Damon Harris plus 110. What would you be getting there, Evergreen? Let me just see.
He's got it right here. Get 104.
Yes.
Yeah, give me the 104. 100%.
Give me 104 in a heartbeat. Mito, okay. You guys can help each other out. You guys know more about that than me. Because of team needs, I'm fairly set on taking running back at 2. I mean, that's your first mistake. You never
want to draft based on team needs. Although I will say, James Cook, if he makes it to 201, I'm fine picking him there. Even though that you don't necessarily want to be drafting on team needs. At 203, again, if you're dead set on taking a running back, I'm okay taking Tyler Algier or Dameon Pierce at that point in time. But I would say that your best value is most likely going to be like George Pickens or somebody like that. David Bell potentially.
Yep. But just remember that. Go back to that 5 mistakes we're trying to avoid in our rookie drafts.
Yeah, we do not want to draft based
for
on
need.
team needs in rookie drafts. We want to draft the best player on the board.
What's the best format for rookie drafts? Always a slow draft, in my
Always
opinion.
slow for me. I love trading in rookie drafts. I just did it today. Like I said, I traded back up for Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't like fast drafts for rookie drafts. Number one, because it's impossible to coordinate to do a fast draft with 12 different people with different schedules and kids and jobs and all that stuff. So I would rather do a slow draft so that everybody's schedule doesn't matter. It's 8-hour clocks. You have a lot of time to trade picks and stuff like that.
Yep. Damon, we already answered that. Traded Damon Harris. Yeah, that's a heartbeat type of move.
Yeah,
crack shot.
Easily.
Need advice. I'm about to pull the trigger. Which side would you rather have here? 223 ones or Fields in a 2023 second for Debo? Either way, I would prefer the side that you're getting, but I'm curious to see like where you would have it. And I also kind of want context as to where those 2023 firsts are projected.
About the trade here. So 2 2023 firsts or Debo in a second or Justin Fields for 2023 second and Debo. Sorry. I'd rather give up Debo. I'd rather give up Fields and get Debo in the second than the first.
No. He's asking, he's giving up Debo. Would you rather Fields in the second or would you rather have the 2023 firsts?
Oh, okay. I'm high as shit. Give me. That's tough.
Where are the ones projected?
I don't think it matters. I think if I'm going to make that trade, it would be for the Field side.
Oh, it's Fields plus a second for. Yeah, no, we read that. So you want the first regardless? You said?
Yeah, I would hold the first. I don't know which side you're getting, but
he's giving up Debo. He can either get 2023 first or Fields in a second.
Okay, give me the 2 first then. If you're giving up Debo,
he just said they are random ones. If they are random ones,
right now. Okay, sorry, I'm fucking confused. Oh yeah,
you're good.
2023 first is enough for me to give up Debo Samuel, unless they're both going to be like really, really late. I'd probably do that. If you have any chance that even one of them is like a early to mid, then I'm doing that trade.
Agreed. I mean, I would say right now, like. Yeah, no, that's about fair. What are your top 10?
That video will be dropping for
that is literally coming out.
Make sure you tune into that. It'll be dropping in about an hour from now.
Yep. Tune in, subscribe to the channel, notifications on. You will see that come to your screen at 5 p.m. as Corey said. Wait to see what his landing spot is. Whose landing spot? I don't know.
Maybe Debo's.
His draft day drip was fire. I mean, I actually put it on the thumbnail of our video. I'm not sure, or the live stream. I put the.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Devin Bush, his draft day outfit is the reason that he didn't get his 5th-year option picked up the other day. Oh, that guy's outfit was trash. Do you remember that? I appreciate all the advice. Now I have 2023 seconds now working on getting some firsts if a couple rookies pan out. Yeah, good job, Corey. You love to see rebuilding that team up pretty good, especially that Elijah Moore trade. That was phenomenal. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Superflex 10-man. Cooper and Mitchell or Michael Thomas and Keenan for a contending team.
Can I say one thing? That is the most disgusting suit I've ever seen for reference. If you guys don't know.
How do you not remember that about Devin Bush?
I don't remember him. Or I remember him. He's a Michigan guy. I just don't remember him wearing that. I don't remember him doing that. That is disgusting.
Like, what was that? That was like
what is that? Drip. What is that?
Opposite flex? Of drip right there.
Bro, the last like draft day moment I remember was when CeeDee Lamb basically like flipped off his girlfriend for trying to take his phone.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, no, that was a disgusting fit.
But okay, so Cooper and Mitchell or Michael Thomas and Keenan for a contending team. Give me the 2 elite wide receivers. Give me Michael Thomas and Keenan.
All day there. Best draft format.
Of course, yeah.
Fast draft.
I still have never done this yet in our home league, in our redraft league. I've been saying let's get a live draft board. Let's do a live draft.
I do that all the time.
Like I want to sit on my fucking musty ass basement and draft on my laptop. I'm like, dude, let's get some beers. Let's punish our league's loser last year, whip some mags at him, and then fucking do our draft. Like, wouldn't that be way better?
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay. We mentioned earlier, what is the ideal time? And actually somebody just asked right now. For Dynasty, including rookie drafts, including the startup, always slow drafts. For redraft, always a fast draft. Always getting some, nachos, wings, pizza, whatever the fuck you want when you're live in person. And always just shit talking your friends in person when they make a bad pick. When you see, Aaron Jones go in the 2nd round of your draft this year, make the fucking person feel bad for it. That's what's being a friend. Make your
I
friend
remember
feel
a
bad
couple
for
years ago
reaching.
when LaShawn McCoy had like the lingering like legal situation. He was like a 30-year-old running back for the Bills. Someone talked about the 201 in my redraft league, and I flamed the shit out of
Dude,
him. I'm like, that is the worst pick I've ever seen.
dude, I remember a couple years ago, similar thing. You remember when Jordan Howard signed with the Eagles,
Yeah.
right? And somebody picked him in the early third round of the draft, and he's like, "Yeah, this is the stud for the Bears, whatever."
Oh
Everybody's
man, that's a casual. That's a raging casual right there.
bro. Everybody just let him have it. It was fucking
Yeah.
bad.
Got a pick coming up. Third
Shakir,
round PPR. Shakir or
Shakir.
Zamir White. Give me Khalil Shakir. Zamir White stings.
Yeah, I mean, I wish everybody was the same. It's just sometimes it's tough for
So
people
our
to have the
attention
attention
spans as a
span.
society is terrible,
Yeah.
so we like to
Oh
keep
yeah.
videos concise if possible, and we will be adding timestamps to this video as well in between whatever
Yeah.
mocks Danny did, so that you guys know, if you're rewatching this, you can go and scroll around to whatever the mock was.
Also, I would slightly prefer Olave, but I can't ridicule you for going with either. I would go with Olave.
Yeah,
if I
they're
was
like
going.
again.
Yeah.
Ask me tomorrow, I might have a different answer. Like
He'll-
that tier of wide receivers are all up in a hat for me.
Yeah, and yes, no, he's just replying here. Yes, if they're random, yes. Correct. I'm also keen to give a guy in my league the two. For if you can get
I'll
away
give
with,
up all those seconds in a
Yeah.
heartbeat for the 105.
bro, I'll give
in a
up all
heartbeat.
those seconds and like a couple seconds next year. I don't give a fuck. Give me the 105.
Yeah, the seconds this year, like I actually offered somebody. You didn't see this because it was like behind the scenes. I offered clowning Dion's in our league or Fled or somebody has Michael Pittman Jr. I offered him my 2 seconds, 2/3, and my 2 seconds next year for Michael Pittman Jr. and I think like a third or something like that.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that. I literally offered flat for Pittman, and he's like, "Funny you're offering." Bush just offered me for him too.
Yeah, so I sent him my second, my 204 this year, my 303 this year, my 305 this year, and then my second next year for Michael Pittman Jr. was the offer actually. And he's like, I'm not giving him up for that. I'm like, I probably wouldn't if I were you either. Just saying what you were thinking.
Maybe that'll sway him. What is the ideal time per pick? I'd
In
say
a startup,
8
I
hours.
like 8-hour clocks because
8 hour
you can,
clocks.
yeah, because you can make trades and all that kind of stuff.
Steelers traded up for this. Yeah, literally showed his fit. Ugh, the vibes are awful. I appreciate that, Ethan. Glad you enjoyed the content. I got 103. If Hall KW go 1-2, considering I am in a serious
If you're in a serious rebuild, I would
give me
go
Drake
with
London.
Drake London or Burks, Garrett Wilson, whatever
Yep.
wide receiver you value, probably regardless. Unless Hall fell to 103.
We've got an MDW. I don't know what. What's MDW?
I have no
Losers
idea.
beer mile the week before. Football is back. Life is good. He's got to run a beer mile. Jesus.
Yeah, that's elite.
Is Fields' resale value going to be the same or more than Debo after the season? Is it one? I would personally still rather.
I think the downside risk of Justin Fields is that he might be replaced in next year's draft. I don't think it's 100%.
I would rather
happen.
Fields. If I was in a startup, I would take Fields over Debo simply because I get the downside risk, but he's still going to have value inside as a quarterback.
No, he doesn't though, because he might lose his job.
I don't see that.
It wasn't this regime did not draft him,
and that's fine. He's still gonna get an opportunity somewhere. When we're
no,
talking
sure,
about Debo,
I'm sure that's true, but like
if Debo,
at the same time, he's gonna lose a lot of value if he goes away from the Bears.
Debo gets traded or gets hurt and has not a year like he did this year. Let's say he has a slightly down year. He will be a 27-year-old wide receiver coming off a down year, and the market is going to treat him like trash. Fields, I can't see. Even if he has a bad year, people will make excuses.
They will
because he's got Konami code upside. Because he's got
which one is more comfortable or confident in happening for you? Justin Fields has Darnell Mooney and Velus Jones to throw to, and Cole Kmet.
Potentially,
Deebo Samuel. I mean, for the time being, is going to be back with the 49ers, if not on a new team that gives them an extension.
I'm taking Fields. I'm taking the quarterback all day.
Yeah, I'll take Deebo Samuel there.
It's great. Appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed, William. Khalil's, we already answered that, Sean.
That already.
Traded up for Ayuk last year and passed on. Oh, fuck pain. The best draft, highly don't recommend. Was put on a massive board and you have to throw a dart at a player, and that's what the bro. Is everybody just throwing it at freaking Breece Hall?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I like Wilson as the wide receiver 1, but most like London.
I
like London, but I don't argue that.
Wilson, he's my wide receiver 2.
Yep. No, I agree with that. He's my 3, but I think they're all super fluid. Better prospect, the smaller. Yeah, literally. I have the first. You say, who do I take? I'm not making all those picks, not even remotely. If you are
Yeah.
rebuilding, if you're a total rebuild, you make 2 or 3 of those picks at most, in my opinion. Those other 3 picks, especially that 101, especially that 102, if people you only know want Hall or Walker, you trade that down and you get, I mean, fuck. What's somebody going to pay you if
Next
they're
year's
contending?
picks, 2024's picks, like just
Just
go for draft
build a
capital.
fountain of wealth. Just
Yeah,
on
maybe buy
on
low on like a DK Metcalf type or something like that if you
yeah.
can. But if I had to make all those picks, I would pick Hall, London, Wilson, Burks, Walker, and Olave in that order. And actually, in a full rebuild, I'd probably favor JMO over Olave.
Yeah, that's fine. Hall Walker, well, yeah, if you make all the picks, but I wouldn't. William, everybody's saying the picks, but trade for sure.
Memorial
Memorial,
Day weekend.
okay,
So
yeah, that makes sense.
right. Is Memorial Day weekend the same as Labor Day? Or am I stunned?
Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, our Labor Day would be early September.
I think Memorial Day is the same as
that would make sense.
Yeah, Memorial Day I think is Labor Day for us.
Thoughts on Calvin Austin? I mean,
Take a
round
fourth round
sure.
dart throw on him.
He's got speed. He's kind of fun. Sure. In my league, I want the loser. Yeah. Oh, I've
Taco
never.
Bell has wings in the
I
States.
didn't even know that. That's gross. Ugh. I'm not gonna lie though, I can't hate too much because I know for a fact every time I get a little bit intoxicated, my first natural instinct is to get Taco Bell. I don't know what it is. I never crave Taco Bell when I'm sober, but as soon as you get some drinks in you, it's just like a go-to. It's like,
yeah,
fuck.
it's just, you just want to ruin your whole life in
Genuinely.
one fucking meal.
And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God. Like
your bed sheets look like a fucking deli sandwich wrapper. Like it's fucking gross.
Bro, I got some ground beef mixed into those sheets, baby.
Oh man, you're fucking a mess. You could replace Olave with Williams or Burks if you like them better. Yeah, I agree. I think Williams would probably in a full rebuild. I'm probably going to favor a guy like Jameson Williams.
Anytime there, Jeffrey, by the way. Marvin also says you guys are split. Thank you for the talk. LOL, I only watch you guys in one other page. Love how you engage everyone that you can. Appreciate that. And
one of the things that we do disagree on is that Danny really, really values quarterbacks highly in startups. And I value them highly too, but like I'm not going to take
I love
Justin
quarterbacks.
Fields, who I don't even know if is good or has job security, other than the fact that he was a high draft pick for a couple, over a great receiver like Debo.
I mean, I'm taking the young quarterback because at the end of the day here, if Fields hits his potential, he's a
oh no, it's definitely he's got the better ceiling because he's a quarterback, but the downside risk I think is more likely and it's lower than Debo Samuel because the Bears are fucking incompetent as shit. But
that's a fair retort.
Yeah, Taco Bell is the GOAT for fucked up food. Every QB is supposedly better than every QB in this draft based on media. Is Justin Fields better than Pickett and worthy of being a top 10 pick in real life rather than just sitting and hoping? Justin Fields is miles better of a prospect than Kenny Pickett.
Fields would go number 1 overall, or I mean number 2 overall. I mean actually he would go number 1 overall because the Jags would trade the pick.
Most likely. Right I would have said any of the quarterbacks that went the first round last year, including Mac Jones, would have been at least the 2nd overall pick in this year's draft.
Yeah, most
the
likely,
Lions would have picked Mac Jones at 2, Trey Lance at 2, Justin Fields at 2, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence at 2 in this draft if they were in here.
I think Walker over Hall. You say receiving output is blown out of proportion when it's 50 or more than 50% of what fantasy success is deriving from.
In a standard league, I would agree
with if you're in a standard, like I can't get there in a half PPR, but it's more of an argument, if you will. But either way, if you have Walker over Hall, we kind of talked about this in the video that we just put out. But if you have Walker over Hall, do not take Walker at 1. See that person who is a diehard Breece Hall fan who has, like us, him a tier above everyone else, and get that value while still getting your 101. So if you can get,
I would say 102 and 103, somebody's going to be like, damn it, I just missed out on Breece Hall. And you're going to be able to at least, even if you only get a 2nd round pick on top of, Kenneth Walker. Because if you get Kenneth Walker in a 2 versus taking Kenneth Walker at 1, you don't get that 2nd round pick.
Value.
So it's a net positive for sure if you were just going to take him there anyway.
Chris Olave is currently my 106 there. Jameson also, is this like Caleb's cousin or brother or something?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I also will say the 106 to me is dependent on if I'm rebuilding or if I'm contending. I would take Chris Olave for a contending team. If I'm rebuilding, I would take Jameson Williams.
Yep, more than fine. How would you rank Wandale, Tolbert? Oddly enough, that's probably I think
that would be the order I have them ranked.
I think that is low.
I would say Wandale might be like almost a slight tier above those guys for me.
Yeah,
but like it's pretty close. They are all kind of,
I would agree
mid
with you
to
there.
late second round, early third round type guys for me.
So let me see here. I would have that order ranked. Okay, it's just not updated. I have Wandale higher than Tolbert now. Wandale, Tolbert, Pierce, and Shakir in that order. I got to raise Wandale a little bit. I thought I had him higher.
Yeah, every QB from last year's class. Yeah, exactly.
Sure, I'm gonna handle that real quick. You mind spotting me quick?
If you were to be the buyer, how low would you discount Fields? Would his value be the same as Lawrence? I value both of those guys about the same right now. Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I think they're both, early third round type of startups for me. And guys that I would probably sell if I got like 2 firsts for, or like, one late first and one, solid piece or something like that. I'd say they're probably like pretty equal value for me if I'm the buyer. And I'm honestly not likely to buy either of them though, if I'm being honest. Because you said if you were the buyer, which one do you value the same or whatever? Which one do you value higher? I'm not buying either of them because I don't want to hitch my wagon to either guy.
Sorry, I'm just looking at something.
As a big believer in QB situation, I really can't buy into Fields and Lawrence at their price. I do love Wilson at his price. This is exactly my thought. We don't like to overvalue situation for wide receivers and like running backs to some extent too. But quarterbacks, it absolutely matters. Like you need to have a good coaching staff, good franchise, good offensive line, good weapons around you. If I'm Jahan Dotson, I'm a wide receiver. All I need to do is command targets. Doesn't matter who's throwing me the ball, who my target competition is. If I can command targets, then I'm going to be successful. But if you're Justin Fields, you need to have people to throw to. You need to have someone to block for you. You need to have a running back to take, the load off of your shoulders. You need to have a coaching staff to call you the correct plays and take advantage of your athleticism. It is a completely different ball game at the quarterback position, which is why I'm not buying either of Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence right now. And in fact, I'm probably like, they're soft sells for me just based on how high their value is.
I can see that. Again, their market is going to be very high. If I'm in a startup, I'm absolutely taking them in the third round personally, because I know for the fact that the quarterback market after like quarterback 13, 14 gets super, super gross. So, I mean, I would take them and then just look to flip them later, as you kind of mentioned. They are two of the only quarterbacks left that are probably worth multiple first round picks. So in a startup, I'm fine with taking them. But again, if you can get, as we kind of talked about that scenario, 2023 first or Fields in a second, I'm probably taking the 2023 first, as we kind of said.
Yeah.
But that's the type of fair market deal that you can expect.
Yeah, exactly. The tough thing for me, like I basically talked about already, is like I have Trevor Lawrence as my 34th overall player. I'm never going to get him there. Like nobody's ever going to let him fall to 34 in a startup. That's why I'm going to take guys like I'm just looking who's around them in this area, like Cam Akers, running backs like that, J.K. Dobbins, Jalen Hurts at wide receiver. I'm probably going to take. I'm looking at wide receivers that are around this area: DK Metcalf, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, anybody in that territory. I'm just not going to spend a top 2 round pick or even an early third on these guys. I'll let my league mates do that, and I'll probably just address my QB situation elsewhere.
Yep. If I were to be the buyer, how low would you discount Fields? Would his value be the same as Lawrence? I mean, they're already pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
I already
value.
answered that question.
Has to get a Fryer. Jesus. 109 and Olave. Oh my
That's
god,
a great value.
Yeah, go run that up. Turn that card in now. Yeah, literally. I get criticized for communicating. Yeah. I mean, also, wow, that guy denied that. That's a really enticing
that's
offer.
A big time offer.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a really big time offer. I feel that sentiment though. Too early, I get. Yeah, I mean, appreciate you watching the replay as well, there, Henry. 2 quarterbacks. Should I trade Carson Wentz before his value drops after the season, or should I wait? All I got is Zach Wilson and Wentz, but I'm rebuilding heavily.
I mean, it all depends on what people are willing to give you for Carson Wentz.
Fully depends on what the market's giving you. I learned that after I get a good trade, there's always someone that's going to hate. Everybody will hate as soon as you're active. That's the one thing you have to learn in Dynasty. You have to be water. You have to move on. As soon as you make a move or multiple moves or you string moves together, there's always going to be somebody that either criticizes you for making the move or criticizes you that you're making so many moves. Who cares? Just be proactive. Manage your team. At the end of the day here, it's fucking fun to trade. Like I am the biggest trade degenerate I know, and Bush could probably advocate that I make the most.
Second. I trade like very often as well, and I'm still like 10 to 15 trades per season behind you. So
like
it's pretty crazy.
I probably make at least
in redraft. I'm an absolute trade degenerate though. Like I literally trade players off of good weeks, like almost every week, like in
Yeah.
redraft leagues, because I know how the market reacts to a good week. If you
Oh,
try
yeah.
and trade somebody who might be an elite player off of a bad week, you're going to get like 20% less value than if you trade them off of a good week, which shouldn't happen at all, but it does.
Yep, for sure. Fields takes a big step forward this year with the new coaching staff. Lawrence, I think, just slightly improves in his second year on the system. The supporting cast in
That's the bull. Like
Chicago
those are the
is,
bull cases for those
yeah.
guys, right? Like that's definitely possible, but I think it's more of like a 50-50 chance that that doesn't happen.
Um, I don't think I would have taken that personally.
Yeah, that's a little.
Not,
The 104 to me is just a little,
yeah. Now that you've
little
done
too
it
valuable.
though,
I probably would have waited
wide
till I was on the
receivers.
clock to do that as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
I figured Burks and London would both be gone. Um, in the
Uh,
110 and 111 spot for a win now
Dotson,
team, I would say Dotson is your best bet. One of Watson or
Bell.
Bell probably
Yeah,
is your other best bet.
that's probably what I'd say. Do I give up the 110 for a current player? I have the 1-1 and the 1-9 as well. If you can get like, try for like Keenan Allen, maybe. Maybe you can get
Yeah,
Keenan
if you're,
Allen.
it depends on what kind of team you are. If you're a competing
MT,
team, I'm go after Michael Thomas,
Michael
Keenan
Thomas,
Allen.
MT,
Yeah,
something like
somebody like
that.
that. If you're trying to
Veteran.
rebuild, maybe you buy low on, or even if you're not
Mike
rebuilding, buy low on
Evans.
like Antonio Gibson or something like that would make some sense.
Like, what plus 110 do you think the market would value Mike Evans at?
That's probably fair value, I would say.
Maybe you have to throw in a 3 or something, but
Yeah.
those are the type of receivers I'd be making, especially if you are trying to contend. You're in a scorched earth rebuild unless you have a stud wide receiver, then trade everyone for picks, and if you can get a studs. Yeah, like genuinely speaking, if I am rebuilding, again, it depends on the context of how hardcore the rebuild is, but like the cornerstone type of pieces in Dynasty are the top 6
I think you just
quarterbacks.
mentioned the two, like the quarterbacks, and then the three that you just mentioned are pretty much
Yeah,
the guys that I'm not selling in a scorched earth rebuild, as you described it. Like if I have, let's say, because I'm doing this in one league right now, I have Justin Herbert and Deshaun Watson, so two of the top, elite quarterbacks, and I have Justin Jefferson. Those are my core pieces. Everybody else, I have Mike Williams, I have Marquise Brown. Everybody else on the trade block, like you can fucking come trade for them and give me picks all day and every day. Like I'm not attached to any of those players. J. Jeff, Herbert, and Watson are the only guys that I'm probably going to keep the duration of the rebuild.
yep. Fire Trent Baalke, and I'll get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, true. That I do think that that's going to happen with one of these quarterbacks from this class. Is that whether it's Fields, Lawrence, like a better team is going to end up getting that prospect when one of the poverty franchises tries to ruin them.
Yeah, no, literally. He's just gonna go
I hope the Bucks just trade for Justin Fields with like a second round pick next year after he fucking gets washed out of Chicago.
I understand the rationale here, but in terms of relative value, the 104 is a big tier difference, in my opinion. Like comparing, you mentioned the two other receivers that you expected to be gone. I would much rather personally Garrett Wilson than, as much as I like Jahan Dotson and David Bell.
Yeah,
give me the
it's
stud.
all about tier breaks, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, 2 bites is statistically probably a smarter idea than just taking one. But when you got a pretty vastly better prospect in Garrett Wilson, then as much as I like Jahan Dotson, I there was a pretty decent discrepancy with my grade with them. And then
Yep.
obviously he goes top 10 to an offense that's ascending rather than Carson Wentz's number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely fair. But yeah, like I said, I probably would have just stuck at 104.
In Dynasty, is it worth trying to flip Brady for one of these young, struggling quarterbacks? If you can get,
if you're
any of
competing,
those
your best
quarterbacks-
bet is to ride Brady off into the sunset because you're not going to get the best
He-
value. But if you can get one of these young, struggling quarterbacks, if by that you mean Justin Fields,
Fields
or
or
Lawrence,
Lawrence,
then yes, or Zach Wilson,
Yes.
or Mac Jones, whoever you're talking about. If I can get any one of those quarterbacks, I'm doing it.
Yep. Just knowing full score rebuilds, you can't be afraid to lose a trade. And I'm glad you mentioned this because so many people are focused on, I got to win this trade. I got to win this trade. I got to win this trade. Even if you have to accept, 90% of the value, if it's going to progress your team more, let's just say you have Dalvin Cook and you're trying to go full rebuild and you think, Dalvin Cook in your league market should be worth the 106, but somebody's only willing to offer you the 108, take it. Genuinely. What's 1 to 2 years of Dalvin Cook going to do to further your rebuild as opposed to that young
make your
ascending
own
wide
better too,
exactly.
Higher,
And
you don't want that to happen.
people fail to contextualize that point. if you're rebuilding, I kind of mentioned this earlier because Brock mentioned about trading these win now running backs. If you are rebuilding, or quite frankly, if you are not one of the top 4 at minimum teams in your league, you want to rid yourself of these running back points. You don't want them bringing your pick to worse and worse value. So if you can shed, let's just say Dalvin Cook is a good example here because he's a big one. You want to throw Zeke, you want to throw, all these other old aging running backs into that bucket. Go ahead. Advance your own pick because again, maybe you lose a little bit of value on that direct deal, but maybe it makes your pick from 104 next year to 101. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to be well worth it if you can get, a Bijan Robinson asset that you can either take or then flip for a boatload once this guy is a first round startup pick next year.
Right. I traded Alvin Kamara and I don't remember what the other piece was, but Alvin Kamara and a small piece in a team that I was tearing it down and rebuilding. And I covered that in the how to rebuild video that we did about a month or two ago. Yep. I traded that away for a 2023 first. And I think it was Alvin Kamara and a third this year, like the 308 for a 2023 first. And at surface level, maybe you're like, the value of Alvin Kamara is like a 2023 first alone. Right. But I had to give a third just to get that first. But that's made my team better, right? It gets Alvin Kamara's production off my team, which I don't want because I'm rebuilding. And I also get, what expects to be a mid to late first in next year's class.
Also, I'm going to quickly say, if you guys watch UFC, apparently it got leaked a photo or a picture on July 30th that John Jones is supposed to fight Stipe Miocic on July 30th.
Isn't if you're like 40?
Miocic, yeah. John Jones is still like in his late 20s.
No. Stipe's old, though.
Yeah. Oddly enough, John Jones' brother, Chandler Jones, shout out.
Yeah, big facts. I need to get in a league with you guys for sure. Yeah, so you got to trade off emotion, no doubt. Yeah, so we will be running, we have our Tone Setters League, which is with our Tone Setters tier on Patreon in full, effect right now. We're discussing league rules, and we're about to have our draft startup and stuff, and we'll probably cover a little bit of that on the channel so you guys can get an idea of where we're at. But we're also going to do another league with our Patreon, like our $10 Patreon tier. So Marvin, if you want to be in that league, then you can definitely, sign up on Patreon and, be a member of that drawing. I think we have like 30 patrons right now. Yep. So, you got a 30% chance of getting in on a 12-team league.
And I'll say quickly too, for that league as well, obviously like the main Tone Setters League, the first 11 Tone Setters are put into that direct league managed league. But again, we're going to be releasing a couple Patreon leagues. If you want full guarantee to get into those leagues as well, I mean, that Tone Setters tier is still available if you want to get into one of those leagues.
Right, and that'll give you automatic entry into any redraft leagues that we do as well. Yeah. Bush, I agree. In redraft, I had Hawk. He had 2 big weeks last year. I flipped him for Odell, who I traded when healthy, and Higgins. Yeah, dude, I do that shit all the time. You guys, a lot of you guys tuned into the trade targets videos that I was doing throughout the season. You saw literally any time any superstar player had 2 down weeks in a row, I was trading for them. And it's not that like the player suddenly got bad and the fantasy manager's like, oh, this player stinks now, I can't start them. It's just the NFL is full of variance. Sometimes DK Metcalf has 9 targets for 3 receptions and 22 yards. Sometimes he has 9 targets for 9 receptions and 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, that's just what happens sometimes. And the 9 targets is the important part, is basically what I was kind of stressing in those videos.
And I'll quickly tell you as well, a little bit less for running backs, if people just mostly will see opportunity. Like, more sharp players will see, okay, this running back didn't have, 30 fantasy points this week, but he did have, 27 touches. He just, faced a sturdy run defense. Most people can contextualize that. Your best bargaining area is buying low on these elite receivers. Because people like going into the draft knowing, oh, you know what? Like, there's more variance to the wide receiver position, but yet as soon as their 3rd round pick has a bad game, they're putting them on the block.
Yeah.
People are just
that's what I said in those videos. I compared it to the stock market. The rich people in the stock market, they don't trade like shitty stocks. What they do is they buy low on blue chips for the most part. That's usually what they do. When Tesla goes down 10 points, they buy low on Tesla because they know it's going to go back up again. Yep, which is essentially what you're doing when you buy low on DK Metcalf after a bad game.
Yep. I pick 8, 9 wins. I would have preferred someone other than Watson, but love the Sky Moore pick.
Yeah, for sure. But
So
109 is not terrible for Watson.
it's
I've
not
seen him go
terrible.
a
It's
lot
just
higher than that.
I'm just contextualizing. I mean, to be fair, maybe you don't have Jahan Dotson in as high regard as we do. Maybe go Watson. I would have went Dotson. I'm assuming JMO and Olave probably went 6-7, and you were tasked with Watson or Dotson. Little rhyme there, if you will. But I would have went Dotson. But I mean, I don't fault you too much.
Yeah.
Coming up on the 4-5 turn in a startup, ETN and Dobbins available. Running back, Pittman, Judy Smith, Elijah Moore, wide receiver. Which two are you leaning? Started Lamar, Pitts, and Lance. Out of those options that you provided, I'm probably going with ET. Oh, Dobbins available. Elijah Moore for sure locked in for me. Who are you leaning out of the other ones?
It's a pretty tough situation. Honestly, I probably would go with the 2 running backs.
I can't take
It's tough.
ETN
Like
over
that makes
Elijah Moore.
it kind of puts you in a little bit of a win now kind of mode if you take those 2 running backs, even though they're young. Like
I gotta go
some
more.
running backs do. Elijah Moore would definitely make some sense. The only reason I'm saying that is because potentially you could get Elijah Moore later, just because because they added Garrett Wilson. I'm not really sure what his ADP is going to settle in now. I'd consider shopping one of those picks if I were you.
Yeah, maybe move down a little bit, let a few of those guys go. I mean, heck, maybe you could move down from that 501 to like the 507 and pick up a rookie second.
Pittman would also be kind of in consideration with me if you were leaning wide receiver as well. Personally, the way I have it ranked is that I would go with the 2 running backs.
I would go with Dobbins and Moore personally. But I would see, like, again, if you can move down from like 501 to 507, pick up a rookie second next year. I know how crazy startups get. Somebody's going to be willing to move up for that if they are eyeing someone. So if you can make that type of move and still get one of those players to fall back to you, that's what I would be looking to do.
Yeah, for sure.
When's the next startup mock with rookie placements?
I'll probably do one tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, we'll probably do one tomorrow. Basically, if you guys don't know what we kind of scheduled out here, and I'm sure you guys are going to appreciate this because it's more content for you guys, but we have a video for you guys every single day. And then while the other person's editing video, the other person will start the live. So you guys will have constant content and access to us. So we just thought that you guys would appreciate that. So we decided to make that idea.
Yeah, it's easy for us to engage with you guys in the comments. Plus, you guys, I'm sure, want to see startup mocks and rookie mocks as we're talking about this draft class so that you're prepared. I'm assuming most people have their rookie mocks this weekend, just as a general, thing, because that's when a lot of mine are.
Yep. Hey guys, I've heard from other channels you should rebuild 1 year. Next year is my first year to absolutely suck. How do you know when to strike when the iron's hot? Sorry, I need to understand. What do you mean other channels you should rebuild 1 year?
Yeah, I mean, typically for me, 2 to 3 years is the rebuilding window.
I don't like forcing that contention window. You'll know when your team's ready to put your chips in.
And typically the way that you know that is by looking at your quarterbacks and your running backs.
Yes.
Because if you have a bunch of, let's say, come 2023, you have Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Walker, another running back, Sean Tucker from the 2023 class. Your quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, Zach Wilson, who took a huge step forward in his second year, and Kenny Pickett or something like that. You can then compete with that team. But at the time, maybe you couldn't.
Yeah, I'll also quickly say Brock commented this further down, but he said 1 year is a retool, 2 to 3 is a rebuild. I fully agree with that. I wouldn't consider that 1 year a rebuild. Now, if you're, you lost in the playoffs, you lost in the second round last year, and you want to purge your team for 1 year to get younger, not purge, but basically take your older depreciating assets and flip them into appreciating assets, tank a year, and then go back. That is a retool, in my opinion. Full-fledged rebuild is, I am not going anywhere with this team. I need to strip this down to its core and start it from scratch. And that usually takes, as Brock mentions, about 2 to 3 years to fully complete.
Yeah.
What tight ends behind McBride do you like the most? I don't mind Dulcich, the draft capital, the opportunity there in Denver, and he's very, very highly regarded in NFL media circles. So I do like Greg Dulcich. Jelani Woods, a lot of opportunity there, 3rd round pick, Indianapolis, a nice little spot for him. And if you guys don't know, one of the freakiest athletic profiles you can find at tight end, 6'7", 261 with 4.6 type of speed. I don't mind taking that dart throw. And then if you're talking about 4th round, Cade Otton from your Buccaneers, I feel like has a nice little opportunity, especially if Gronk either doesn't come back or if he comes back in a limited capacity. Because even if he comes back, like maybe he's only, a red zone weapon, or maybe he's, a 50% snap share type of guy for 1 year to go all in with Brady. And then you get the starting tight end. Like I don't mind that, especially in the fourth round of rookie drafts. I mean, if you're getting any player that can see opportunity within the first couple of years, especially a tight end, I'm fine with that. I also like Jake Ferguson. A reason being, I don't think Dallas is going to re-sign Dalton Schultz, given the kind of morale that we get around the situation. They spent fourth round draft capital on a guy that is basically Dalton Schultz 2.0 in Jake Ferguson. And we saw this year that Dalton Schultz did have a significant role in the way this offense wants to proceed. So if you're spending, again, fourth round draft capital on guys that can legitimately see the field within their first 2 years, I'm more than fine with that.
Yeah, I think any of these tight ends you can really just take a fourth round dart throw on, to be honest.
Yep, for sure. I had picks 8 and 9 and went with Sky Moore and Christian Watson. What do you think? Oh, you already commented that. Do you think looking to see if a quarterback has at least 3 years left, they should all be valued the same after all? How long will the league last? 3 years is sufficient, right? I don't care about how long they last. I care about how maintainable or how volatile their value is. So if I can see a clear path for a young ascending talent to appreciate and value, I'm always going to favor that over a guy that we're kind of taking at their relative ceiling. So prime example would be, let's just say you're on the board in your draft and, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, let's just say off the board. And you're looking at what's comparable to like Aaron Rodgers or not even Aaron Rodgers, like what's like Mac Jones. Like, would you rather right now, like if you're in a startup, take Mac Jones or Derek Carr is actually a good example. Derek Carr or a young quarterback at that point. Like I would take the young quarterback because of the projectable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to contextualize it. Hopefully you guys got the idea there. Thoughts on Ty Davis Price? I'm getting him. Yeah, third, fourth round, more than fine taking that, especially given the nature of that San Francisco backfield. By the way,
we'll have that video. We gave our thoughts on him in the running back rankings as well.
Which speaking, it's currently 4:41. We'll probably run this for the next few minutes.
I'm currently making the thumbnail, so if it looks like I'm not paying attention. So,
and I was just gonna say, let you guys digest it. Relax for 15 minutes, and I better see all 80 of you in here within that first couple minutes when that video drops, because it's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, which is why, I mean, we never asked you guys to turn the notifications on, but having your notifications on helps us boost
a lot.
Videos in the algorithm, because it's quick, like people watching the video as it drops, like as soon as it drops, really
helps a ton. Helps a ton. If you guys, like, again, all of you watching right now, if you, as soon as that video drops, can head in, like the video, and literally comment anything. Comment running back, comment your favorite team, comment your favorite drink, whatever it is. All of that helps us in that YouTube algorithm. All that helps us maintain this quality content that we try to bring out to you guys on a consistent basis. So you want to see more live streams like this, you want to see more videos like this, it'll help us a ton in really making those ends meet. Would you trade Eckler for ETN and James Cook? If I'm rebuilding, I would probably take that. I don't know. What do you think here?
Eckler for ETN
probably
and
a close deal.
Cook. Yeah, if I'm rebuilding, I would take that as well.
That's a fair offer. You guys still do the team evaluation? Yeah. So if you guys are interested, again, 87 of you in here currently right now, if you guys are interested in a fantasy football consultation, the link to that will actually be in the description of this video.
If I'm being honest.
Oh, is that what you're referring to? Okay. If this is for Dynasty Decisions, reach out to either of us on Twitter. So follow me, DannyFootball59 on Twitter. DM me. My DMs are open. I'll go check them as soon as this live stream is done. Same thing with Bush at Football Stock if you want to appear on Dynasty Decisions. If you want a more personal, direct call with us for a team consultation, link would be in the description for that as well. So either or.
We're going to have a double header of Dynasty Decisions this weekend as well. So Saturday and Sunday, most likely, we'll have two, we'll cover 20 teams or whatever.
For sure. What would you guys trade Saquon Barkley for a complete rebuild? What about Hopkins, Superflex, tight end, premium? Saquon Barkley, I would say if you're rebuilding, I would look for future capital. I wouldn't necessarily look for the 2022 class personally. If you can get, a 2023 first and second, like let's just say this random picks, random first, random second, I would be willing to give up Barkley for that if I'm in a rebuild. in terms of Hopkins, if you can get any type of first round value at this point, you take it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'll Google what Patreon is. Yeah, very, very, very easy app. A lot of information, a lot of nuggets over there on our Patreon. So
And
go
yeah,
check
the
that
link
out.
is in the description for that. So you don't have
Yeah,
to Google, us on Fantasy Stock Exchange on Patreon. You can just hit the link in the description.
for sure. Tone Setters, baby. Woo. Yeah, fellow Tone Setter here. Scott, actually member of the Tone Setters Patreon tier and the Tone Setters Dynasty League that we will be updating you guys as we start up. We're going to update you guys on some picks. We're going to update you guys on some trades that go on. So make sure you go check that out because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Moved off of Acres for future 2 future firsts and 2. Yeah, you woodshed.
Yeah, it's a woodshed. We might need a woodshed sound drop.
Yep. Oh, that would be nice. A little like button we could click or something like that.
Yeah.
Love
We
you
don't
guys.
have sound drops. Usually that's like a podcaster's thing where they have sound drops, but we should get a soundboard or something like that.
That'd be sick. Love you guys. Gotta go get the old lady. Can't wait for the vid. Yeah, appreciate that, Evergreen. Glad you tuned in for the stream. Nice chopping it up in here.
Oh, you said the old lady.
My dynasty team: Allen, Cook, Eckler, Swift, CD, Cup, Waller, Bench, Higgins. Wow, that's I mean, you need some help. I mean, you have T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore on your bench, brother. That's
literally.
like the only thing I would say, again, if you want to submit that for dynasty decisions, the only thing we'll say is maybe try to move off those older depreciating like Cook, Eckler, and Cup, and maybe see if you can get younger, appreciable, comparable pieces. Like if you can turn Cook into Dobbins or Eckler into, I mean, who's just a random young like ETN plus, like as we mentioned, ETN plus a second for Eckler. Like if you could do something like that, if you can turn Cup into Waddle plus, like those would be the type of moves I'd be looking to make. Just mentioning too, for Cup for Waddle plus is probably pretty attainable right now, given the fact that everybody and their mother, it seems, is overreacting to the Tyreek Hill trade to Miami. If you can scoop up an elite talent like Waddle for the cheap because of that, go gauge the value. Just got in here, lads. What's up in your Rom? Nice seeing you in the chat again. 1 year's yep, we covered that. I had a complete dude, it happens, man. Sometimes you take over a team that's not ready to compete right away. If you know what you're doing, it's like you could start off with literally nothing and be able to get something out of it if you're in it for the long haul. As a UW fan, I mean, Bush doesn't like hearing that. Hey, Bush.
What did he say?
Read the Auden report.
Do not draft Kate Otten. Dude, honestly, I didn't like the pick the second they phoned it in. So taking a 23-year-old tight end with no receiving production wasn't exactly something I was excited about. Maybe a blocking tight end. I have no idea what he actually does.
Who knows? He's like a Witten type.
Yeah, a Hall of Famer.
Like no, but like play style wise, like you'll.
I mean, we have great already for that.
Fuck, I don't know. Maybe you're getting a younger.
They just shouldn't have drafted a tight end. I feel like they panicked.
Well, if you're gonna take a tight end, at least get one that can like stretch the seam. Like if you're losing Gronk, get somebody that can be a stream bust or can make sure you're getting somebody.
Seam buster.
I am completely fucking drained right now. I've been in here for 2 hours after we recorded. Allow me.
I guess whoever said I don't mind watching a 2-hour stream. I guess we went 2 hours.
Yeah, we went 2 hours. Sorry for everybody watching it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to comment that, go right ahead there. You guys doing a great job setting the tone in this offset. Appreciate that, Robert. Appreciate that. Also a fellow member of that Tone Setters League. Can't wait to update you guys.
By the way, a quick tease of something. We might have some tone setting related merchandise coming in the future.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially now that we're at 10,000 and we can link that directly to the channel. Something we got to look into. Thank you guys so much. Love the feedback. Anytime there, Auton City. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Appreciate the support.
That was a better job than I would have done.
Pretty sure Kate Auton is a Mo Alley. From what I'm hearing, he's like a blocking tight end that can, contribute in the intermediate part. I heard Jason Witten when I talked to a couple of the people I know. Should I go for Eckler, handcuff, and Spiller, or trade away Eckler for the latter?
That seems like two separate decisions. I feel like you're asking if you should draft Spiller in the second round or just trade Eckler away and go in a different direction.
Trade Eckler.
Yeah, I'd probably just trade Eckler. Depending on, if you're a competing team, then, by all means, just draft the handcuff and roll with Eckler this year. But I'm probably likely to try and trade away Eckler for Dobbins plus or ETN plus.
For sure. But either way, over 2 hours now. I am completely drained right now. I'm gonna relax for a little bit, go to the gym, and figure out what we're gonna be doing with tomorrow's video. But either way, appreciate you guys for tuning around for the last 2 hours, and hopefully you guys enjoyed these rookie mocks. But till then, until we see you tomorrow, peace out.